It is 6 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations, you're waking up in the greatest country in history, and we're off and running. We got a whole morning planned for you of engaging discussions, critical analysis, but most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver. Let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up after news and comment with Blake Olson, we've got a whole lot to talk about. Colorado's own Chris Wright being appointed Secretary of Energy. Who is this guy? Well, I've gotten a chance to know him over the years. I can give you a little bit of insight. This is a fantastic pick for the president. And he is going to unleash not only an energy revolution, but possibly nuclear power upon this country. It's a big passion of his. I went to a film screening that he put together about a year ago on this issue. Are we going to really go after nuclear now as a result of Chris Wright's appointment? I think so. So we'll be talking about that. Also, Peter Thiel and Bari Weiss sit down and talk about the election. This was a fascinating conversation we'll get into. Greg Lopez is going to join us a little bit later in the show. He's congressman from Congressional District 4. He has a letter sent to Pete Buttigieg about the road conditions in Colorado. He wants the National Department of Transportation to step up and do something about it. And then Rose Puglisi, House Minority Leader of a Republican Party no longer in the supermajority, joining us to talk about what really happened and what was successful for Republicans to beat Democrats in those important 3 districts to reduce the supermajority power in the state House of Representatives. So we'll be talking with Rose Puglisi in the 9 o'clock hour. Plus, holy cow, Biden approving the use of some pretty serious weapons in Ukraine now. What does that mean? Is Russia escalating? And is all of this geared towards, Donald Trump coming into the presidency? We'll be talking about that as well. Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. But first, news and comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Billy. Happy Monday.
Hey, did you stay up late Friday night to watch that big fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul?
I did. That was awesome. Man, 58 years old, and what he was able to do.
Awesome was not the word I was thinking.
I loved it. I loved every second. You didn't like it?
Not that fight. The first. So
the fights before were competitive and all. No, they were awesome.
Yeah, those. So if you missed it, the first fight was like they got 2 guys off the street. They have no muscle tone whatsoever to them. Yeah. It's like if you put Billy and I with boxing gloves on. One was some Indian mega social media star, and that was okay. Then the 2 dudes that threw 1,500 punches in one fight.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a great fight. Then the ladies came in, and that was crazy controversial because the lady, Katie Taylor, I think her name, that was supposed to win or that did win was not, I didn't think actually won the fight.
Right.
And she's
that was a tough.
She's fighting like an Irish bar brawler with headbutts, and the other lady's got this giant gash over her eye. Holy
no doubt. No, that was. But you didn't like it. You didn't like the
Tyson and then fight? Mike Tyson and Jake. I felt like I got ripped off. So they danced around, didn't really throw any fights. The whole streaming issue was a disaster.
Yeah, that was weird. It was looked like we were watching when Tyson fought in the 80s and 90s.
Right. Mike Tyson's 80s. Punch out. It was all pixelated. I told my son.
See, I looked at it totally. Yeah, it was right. That's right. It was all pixelated. I looked at it a totally different way because my kids had never seen Tyson fight.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, that's, that was the guy. To me, he was, he just dominated, and boxing would be number one in my opinion, had Tyson not gotten into trouble,
Yeah.
gone to jail, slipped. I mean, he was so dominant. He was so awesome.
But it was such a step down. And I understand,
I don't
58 years old.
Yeah,
He
he's
got-
58.
His legs didn't look good.
Yeah, but but his body looked great for 58. I mean, he still had the quickness. I mean, when you get my age, Jeff, you'll understand this. I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, his balance was horrible. Evidently, he almost died in June. He was in the
That's what he
hospital. I
said.
had no idea. But his knee evidently didn't look right. His feet, he tried to get his balance going, but dude, man, he still has the quickness, and he could avoid the punches, and he's still a fighter, even though he wasn't like the sweet science quote unquote fighter. He was just a mauler, but he still had it, man. That was incredible to watch to me, because he could have got blasted and just knocked out in the first round, but he avoided it. And evidently, Paul is a very good fighter. I don't know.
He's not. Jake Paul is an awful fighter. He's atrocious.
Where does
he sucks? And that was an awful fight.
You're right. His form fight. Well, okay, but where does he kind of rank in the world?
0.
Really?
Yeah.
How many fights has he won?
Like, I think he's got 11 fights.
So they were all tomato cans?
Hang on. He has fought one legit professional boxer who was licensed.
Okay.
One. Everybody else has been this stuff. Jake Paul sucks. He is not a fighter. In fact, the only person that he's fought that's an actual boxer cleaned his clock.
He did.
Used him.
Who was that?
Exactly. I don't remember what his name is.
No one knows. No one watches. No one watches boxing.
Here's the idea, though. No one knows, because the dude was so far down the rankings, it didn't freaking matter. Jake Paul sucks as
he's
a fighter.
Big dude, and he's 30 years.
Doesn't matter.
Younger.
I know a lot of big dudes.
It matters. You saw how big that dude was.
Butterbean was a big dude. Wasn't necessarily a good.
No, that's true. But you could see. If he would have connected with Tyson a couple more times.
Yes, and that's why when Jake Paul said
him out.
Yeah, that's why Jake Paul's like, I didn't want to hurt somebody. That was awful.
So
Tyson, that was sad.
He may have thrown it.
Again, it wasn't a real fight, so it doesn't matter if he throws or not.
I haven't watched a real fight in a long time.
Crap.
The fights right before were great fights.
Yes,
they were great fights.
I watched the highlights the next day to say, did I miss something? Did I read this wrong? So I watched the highlights the day after and was like, no, it sucked as bad as I remember. It was atrocious.
But you know why it didn't suck?
So
you know why it didn't suck to me?
Stupid.
This is why it didn't suck to me.
Why?
Because it was free.
Oh,
I mean, I get you have to pay for Netflix.
But it was free.
The fact that you could just turn the thing on, all fights.
That's why it was free. I felt bad. I felt bad for the people that were there in Dallas.
They bailed so quickly.
That was ridiculous.
Guys,
okay, hang on. I got to tell this.
Okay.
Did they bail?
Oh yeah. It was awful. And they were booing during part of it. Now, I understand what you mean about the nostalgia, Blake, about wanting to see Mike Tyson in the ring. The problem was that wasn't Mike Tyson in the ring. You saw Mike Tyson for maybe the first round and a half.
Yeah,
and
first round.
If you want to see Mike Tyson, you see Tyson the first 15 seconds of that fight. When he steps out and he makes that closing step, when he gets inside of Jake Paul and starts to hit, that was the last time Tyson looked like Tyson. The rest of the entire time, he looked like an old dude that was trying to move around the ring. And the other part is this. No, it was awful.
Disagree. I thought he looked great.
And here's the reason.
Speaking of looking great, remember that interview?
No, I don't. What? Which interview?
Yeah.
What?
During the the buffering was terrible the entire time, except for one moment where they go down into the locker room to talk to Mike Tyson, and then he walks away.
Oh yeah,
and his whole backside's exposed.
Cheeks.
Yeah, I did a thing.
All about?
I did a thing on the on my FM shows over the weekend. That whole bunch of people just learned what a jockstrap was this weekend. A whole lot of people had a conversation about what a jockstrap is that nobody's ever seen one or talked about it before.
If I could look that good at 58, I'll be.
Oh, again,
exactly.
He didn't have his legs. He didn't have the power. It was an atrocious exhibition. And the reason why is I'm a professional wrestling fan, so I have watched really old wrestlers get in the ring and try to pull off one last match or one last final paycheck. And that's exactly what I saw. I saw The Undertaker at the end of his career. I saw Hulk Hogan at the end of his career. I saw Ric Flair still trying to go at 65. That's what I saw over and over again. I saw Ricky the Dragon Steamboat trying to go when he was too old. Over and over, I see Steve Austin getting in the ring with Kevin Owens, and he can't go. That's basically what I saw. Mike Tyson was in the ring, and he couldn't go. Alfred Williams, former great broadcaster here in Colorado, recently got pinched and fired off. But sir, Alfred always talks about the idea that he has 5 good plays left in him, and I believe it. You put me on a soccer field, I got 5 minutes. After that, I'm done. I am done. And that's what I saw. That's what I saw with Tyson. Tyson was done after the first round and a half.
Though.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He landed 18 punches. He stood in the ring.
Let me ask you this question, gentlemen.
He didn't.
Do you appreciate that Paul held back a little bit? Didn't hurt Tyson?
Yeah. That was the right thing to do.
Definitely. No, I do.
Because if he would have knocked Tyson down or knocked him out, then he becomes a real bad guy. At this point,
and I think that would have been more interesting. Sorry. I mean, if Mike Tyson's going to sign up to get into a boxing match and gets put on his back by Jake Paul, I think that would be a better show.
Maybe. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was entertainment. I didn't think too much about it. I just turned it on, and the kids enjoyed seeing Tyson. My boys were like, wow, he is pretty strong, man. He's quick. You know, I was like, man, he dominated boxing. If he wouldn't have gotten in trouble, he would have gone 5 years dominating.
Oh, easily. Yeah. He was the baddest man on the planet. There wasn't anybody who was even close to what Tyson was able to do in the ring. He was devastating, and part of it was his quickness, and the other part of his punching power. And his legs weren't there, and that's where his punching power comes from. It's the torsion that starts with your knees and your hips, and he didn't have it. It was so bad. In fact, the only reason I'm okay with Jake Paul not pushing and knocking Mike Tyson out, like Jeff says, is because it wasn't a real boxing match. If it was a real boxing match, then I've been really pissed. But it wasn't. This was practice. This was an exhibition.
So here's my next question: wrestling is it better to just kind of ride off into the sunset than try to do these late in life exhibition matches like you were talking about, Bill?
How many zeros are on the check before I answer the question?
Amen to that. Everybody has a price.
Know. I do not care. It's all about the zeros. And that's why I'm not mad at Tyson for doing it, because he got paid. Not just a little. Dude,
20 million, right?
Paid, yes. To do that for 20 million, more power to you. I got no problem. And for Jake Paul, again, leveraging it to make money based on this, no problem. Go right ahead. I think he's a clown. No problem. He's not a boxer, but he got a paycheck. More power to you. I salute you, sir. What they did was pretend. It wasn't really real, but it got all of us looking. And it might be, I was talking on the FM side this weekend, could this possibly be one of the most disappointing public spectacles we've come across in the past couple of decades?
No.
Is there anything that is more disappointing than this, the way it was sold to us as a public?
Who is the fighter that was really Mayweather?
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather. I felt like it was like watching his fights where he just dances around a lot.
Well, that's that's the greatness of boxing. Some fighters are able to win that way, and it's not fun to fans. It's just like football. I mean, I would much rather watch. I would rather watch a ground game all day, and I would enjoy it. But most people want to see bombs. They want to see the passing game. They want to see 500 yards of passing. I could see a ground game. I could watch Air Force play every day, and throw it 3 times a game. So it's that type of deal.
Blake likes the triple option.
Exactly. Yes.
So Trump was at UFC the next night. I always kind of expected him to walk out at the Tyson Paul thing. Did he not do that, you think, and because of his allegiance to Dana White and UFC? Said, I'm not going to go to this Netflix thing. But then the following night, you had Robert F. Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, Don Jr., Kid Rock, Elon Musk, all at UFC.
They didn't need the celebrity at the Tyson Jake Paul fight. They needed the celebrity pull at the UFC fight. It is a bigger deal if Trump walks out at UFC.
But Tyson's a good friend to Trump. You think he'd be there?
But the issue is, it doesn't matter. They already have all the spectacle they need. The Dana White is using Donald Trump at UFC not because he really likes him, but because it's eyeballs. Because when Donald Trump goes to UFC, it's played on Fox News, it's played on CBS, it's played on ABC. We talk about it here. That's the leverage point. They didn't need it for Tyson Paul. It would have been irrelevant. If Donald Trump showed up at the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, would we be talking about it? No, not unless the crowd booed him. No, we wouldn't be talking about it, but he shows up at UFC, we talk about it. Yeah, UFC needs him. The Jake Paul Tyson fight didn't need him.
Here's a text message about great moments of blunder. Didn't Geraldo Rivera open up a bank vault?
Yep. That's about, and that is about the closest I can think of. The other ones that I was coming up with were unfortunately movies. Things like Cats and Ishtar and Waterworld. And those were all movies. But as far as a public spectacle, I had a hard time with the texture. I agree with you. I had a hard time going back to anything other than the Geraldo event that was this much of a colossal disappointment.
But I remember 5 or 6 heavyweight fights over the years. I can't even remember who they were, and they were horrible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they always disappoint.
And you pay the $200 to watch it.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Those were on pay-per-view. This was a free event on
Netflix.
And
that's why it didn't bother me.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, hey, that was great entertainment. See Tyson, he's back in the ring. I mean, that's stuff. I'm sure I didn't look at it objectively.
I'm sure we got it for free. It was great. Yeah, for free. The cost, the $6 or whatever it is a month.
Is the Netflix CTO still employed?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
And should, because they got more than 65 million people concurrently streaming at one time. That is a record. Although,
was it that? Is that what it was?
That was at one time. It averaged over 60, but at one point concurrently, the highest point was 65 million people streaming it.
So and they blew it up.
Yeah, the problem they've got though is they've been inking contracts. Netflix has with several live broadcast promotions. Adam, who's down the hall doing the video, will understand the danger that the WWE, one of our professional wrestling companies, has signed with Netflix. And WWE has some questions now. They were asking questions behind the scenes over the weekend about whether or not Netflix can handle the streaming load. They're not just talking about their weekly TV episodes, but can it handle the streaming load for some of their pay-per-view events? They're not going to pull 60 million. But with all the streaming and buffering issues, Netflix has been trying to get into the live sports and live event type of broadcasts. And so this was one of their first forays into that.
This CTO said, yes, with the unprecedented scale created many technical challenges, which the launch team tackled brilliantly by prioritizing stability on the stream for the majority of viewers. We had to refresh that thing every 5 minutes. It was such a pain. This is such a crappy response. They reacted brilliantly. We know it was a challenge, and I'm sure many of you have seen the chatter in the press. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it froze on us a couple of times. There's one time where it froze. The second time it froze, I wasn't even worried. And the family was like, "Oh, I'm like, no. Have you been paying attention? Nothing's happening." So when we come back, nothing's going to happen. And it came back. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're right." I'm like, "Yeah, see, they're still standing there. They're not doing anything. They're barely touching each other." I think Tyson landed something like 18 punches. 18 punches. That is awful.
Was that it?
Yes.
Is that all he landed?
I think he only landed 18. I think that's the number I saw.
Because Tyson's so quick.
Yeah.
Such a great boxer.
It's just awful.
The thing is, if you don't make it a priority, it sounds like Jeff, you had the whole night planned around.
Dude, I was super pumped.
Man, we were out, so we were the CSU Wyoming game was going on, so we watched that, and then
that was a better use of time.
Collins, and then said, okay, we'll go see the fight. So we walked in. It was my birthday, by the way. 58 years old. I'm sure that's
really?
Yeah. So I'm
same
sure
age?
that's why I'm
same
not
age as Tyson.
Either. Same age, same exact age.
Nice.
Dude, you were looking.
My boys,
you were looking a hell of a lot better.
Whatever. Hey, by the way, the best post on X was Tyson's cheeks versus what's her name? The overweight young lady who walks around naked half the time. What's her name, Billy?
Don't drag me into this weird fever dream you're having. I don't know where you're going with this one.
You know who I'm talking
about. Naked person we're staring at. What are you doing to me here?
Endorsed Biden, or
I bet. Okay, if I'm guessing, I think you're talking about Lizzo.
There you go.
Yes,
Lizzo.
there we
So
go.
they had the
Okay.
split screen. They had Tyson on the left and then Lizzo
There
on
we
the
go.
right. So after you've seen Lizzo, it's like seeing Tyson, in his job
That's
strap.
true.
So what? I mean, he's in shape.
Guys, I do wish this. This is what I was looking for. And you brought it up, Blake. Here's what I was looking for Friday night. A legend. Because my very first real video game that I put energy into beating was Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh, is that right?
So I wanted so bad Tyson to put Jake Paul on his back. I was just, here you have this cocky YouTube millennial, and I'm a millennial, but showing up, I'm going to take on Mike Tyson. I wanted one punch, first round on his back, crying. I was looking so forward to that. And then you just watched a guy dance around for 8 rounds and then lose to the guy. And then you have all the streaming problems. It was disappointing.
Yeah, I told my kids, if Tyson doesn't end this in the first 3 rounds, he's losing this.
Yeah.
He can't go.
And you're right.
I said he could go at most 3. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It was enjoyable. The fight sucked, but it was enjoyable. And both things can be true. Both things can be absolutely true. Yes.
I feel sorry for Jeff, though, and all the people who went to it. I don't feel sorry for the people in Dallas who went to it. You knew what you were buying.
Yeah, exactly. You knew this. Yeah, you knew this already. It was great that it was on Netflix and free, though. That was fantastic.
I didn't really pay too close attention to it, but it was fun. All right, I'll stream through this. No pun intended. I'll just fly through this here, and we'll talk about what's going on in the world. 27 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 55 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
Воюют с Россией. А если это так, то, имея в виду изменение самой сути этого конфликта.
So Russia's Vladimir Putin said in September, if Ukraine uses U.S. long-range missiles to strike Russia, the United States is at war with Russia. So here we are, November 18th, with multiple reports that President Biden has authorized Ukraine to use U.S. long-range missiles to strike Russia. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said last week the U.S. will rush every dollar at its disposal to Ukraine while Biden is still in office. North Korean soldiers arriving at the front to fight alongside Russian troops. And now the party of senseless wars, the Democrat globalist agenda, Biden and the chaos promoters pushing for war. DJT has made it clear.
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership.
Governor Polis is facing intense criticism after voicing his support for the nomination of RFK Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary. The Thursday Post on social media drew immediate calls for Polis to resign or switch his political affiliation from Democrat to Republican. Some commenters wondered if the governor's account was hacked, especially when Polis said that Kennedy helped us defeat vaccine mandates in Colorado in 2019. Democratic State Senator Julie Gonzalez of Denver telling Fox 31 that the governor has broken trust with a lot of Coloradans with the tweet, especially, or the ex-post, with those who lost family members to vaccine preventable illnesses. The trial resumes today in the February death of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. Prosecutors said Friday that forensic and video evidence proves illegal immigrant Jose Ibarra murdered Riley.
Ready? 2nd and 4. Another opening for Williams. Williams with the power at the end of the run. Driving to the 2, pushing to the 1, and all the way in for a Denver touchdown.
Broncos beat the Falcons 38-6. Bo Nix threw for over 300 yards. And the Chiefs and Travis Kelce, they lose. So that means that, let's see, it's a good time to play this.
Oh, Taylor, don't you feel silly falling for the blatant lies? Come electric you with shit pouring out her eyes.
That's a good video. Check that one out on social media. And Travis Kelce and the Chiefs do lose to the Bills. And let's see, college football over the weekend.
An 8 at the 34. Sanders guns it. Sanders in a pocket. Oh, what a catch. Travis Hunter. Give him the Heisman now.
The Buffs are rolling 49-24 on Saturday morning over Utah. By the time the game was over, I think it was the afternoon. It would have been like 2:00 probably. 24 in Arvada, 26 in Highlands Ranch, and 27 in Denver. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills. Locally owned and operated since 1954. Online at lairfireplacepatio.com. Jeff and Bill continue. It's Monday morning. Good morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Sunny. Temperatures will be in the 50s today, with northwest breezes picking up a little bit this afternoon as a cold front approaches. Lows tonight will be chilly in the mid-20s with gusty northwest winds. On Tuesday, temperatures only in the upper 30s to near 40, slight chance of a snow shower, and windy. Quite cold, teens and 20s Tuesday night, highs back to near 50 Wednesday. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free, no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Speaking of sports over the weekend, Bill, did you see all those dance moves? When the NFL players are celebrating?
Oh,
they're doing the Donald Trump YMCA dance moves.
NFL celebrations suck. Again, a little grouchy this morning, but again, I'd say so. In soccer, we have celebrations.
Dude, I feel like they all just take off their shirt and run around and dance. And
no, they got celebrations that are in soccer. We have style. We have individual celebrations that are tailored to the crowd, that are tailored to the individual, things that go viral. Yeah, they do some dancey moves in the NFL, and they try very, very hard to be just as cool as soccer is.
Well, they may not be as cool as soccer,
very hard. But yes, I've seen some of them. Yeah,
Donald Trump. Man, he's breaking through. The NFL players celebrating him, wearing the MAGA hats, getting fined for it.
I've seen one player wearing a MAGA hat.
And he got fined for it.
Yeah, but it won in Bosa.
But it is, the NFL seems, it wasn't just 4 years ago that it was kneeling and, all that stuff taking place during the national anthem. Now it's Donald Trump YMCA dancing.
It's
coming back.
YMCA's Village People, not Donald Trump.
But it's the song. It's the song that he likes to dance to.
Yeah, but it's not.
But he's doing. He's not. They're not doing the YMCA dance. Yes, you're correct on that. But they're doing the Donald Trump shuffle.
Sure. Sure. Tell yourself that. Make sure. If that makes you feel better, go right ahead. And the idea, and this is all the ideas. This is the irony in the entire process, is that somehow that the Republicans in MAGA convinced themselves that the sporting league owned by multi-billionaire white owners went woke. Sure, guys. Sure,
come on,
sure,
Bill.
guys.
It totally went woke.
Sure, guys. No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
It absolutely did. You have all the statements out there. You have the controversies over kneelings. You have the NBA went into all that. And now they're doing the Donald Trump shuffle. We are so back, baby. And it is awesome.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched the majority of football. I didn't see anybody doing Trump. I mean, I can easily miss it. I didn't see anybody doing Donald Trump.
Yeah, we could send it to you.
Didn't see any of it. I don't know. Okay. I saw Miami Dolphins had a couple of interesting celebrations, but I didn't see anybody. But again, just to miss the highlights.
Did you see the picture of Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy enjoying McDonald's together?
Yeah. That's a Game of Thrones power move. That is a Game of Thrones power move, because Robert Kennedy, the 48 to 72 hours earlier, had criticized the menu choices of Donald Trump. Yeah. And saying that he eats his poison.
Now we're going to eat it on the way down.
And what is that? That's Donald Trump putting Kennedy in the picture, saying, here's the food, take the picture, smile and eat it. That's it. Yeah, that's a power move.
I don't think it's a power move.
It's a Game of Thrones power move. Donald Trump was, in my opinion, upset about the denigration from his appointment for Health and Human Services. So then he turns around and says, and does this, then you eat the food. Eat the food.
No, here's what's happening. Yeah. Here's what's happening.
Sure.
Okay, so Nate Silver brought this up the other day. Republicans are much more comfortable being friendly with people they don't fully agree with. Democrats have a much bigger problem. No, this was a Nate Silver. This was a Nate Silver analysis. I'm not making this up.
I understand, but Nate can be wrong.
But the Democrats can't be friendly with people they can't fully get along with. And what you have there was a few guys having fun. They don't agree on all this stuff. We don't even know if Robert F. Kennedy ate it or not. But the idea that this was a power move, that he's going to shame our Robert F. Kennedy. No, this was a jovial moment of the new guy who's going to be the head of HHS, who hates McDonald's, sitting across the table from a guy eating McDonald's. And it's a fun little moment. That's all it was.
Sure. Fine. That's fine. Also power move. Yeah. And the idea of Nate Silver saying that you get along with everybody that you disagree with.
Statistically, Republicans can have bigger friend circles, even if it means they disagree with people.
Yeah. Here's the thing. All the people that have been labeled as rhinos would disagree. We got a website here in Colorado that throw people off the boat all the time. No. I'm sorry. I understand the idea that I agree that sometimes Republicans cannot be as ideologically pure and don't have those purity tests. But the idea they don't, no. Liz Cheney is incommunicado. She's not allowed anywhere near the party. That's not a disagreement on ideas. That's get the hell out. We're not talking to you anymore. You're not allowed to even talk to us. No, that is no. I understand what Nate Silver is doing.
Yet at the same time,
Democrats
Donald Trump has made bigger gains into the Black community, Hispanic community, Jewish community than pretty much any other Republican recently. So he's been building in other directions. All right. Did you know that last year, over 49% of homes listed did not sell with the real estate agent who took the initial listing? 49%. This cost home sellers thousands of dollars in lower offers and painful holding costs. Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team of Keller Williams have a track record of selling homes fast and get their home sellers 6.1% more money on average, netting their sellers $30,500 more in their pocket. They do this using their proven proprietary systems and guarantees. Go with the team that doesn't just make empty promises, but can actually provide proof of their experience and track record of getting homes sold for top dollar. Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team is so confident in the services they provide and the results they can get you that if you are not happy, you can cancel at any time at no cost to you. This is their cancellation promise. Call 833-301-SOLD 833-301-SOLD, or go to gayasthebuyers.com. That's GAYE hasthebuyers.com. Coming up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who Chris Wright is, because he's going to be our new Secretary of Energy. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
Just before the Chicago City Council voted unanimously to reject Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed $300 million property tax hike, people who live in the city tore into the liberal mayor for trying to raise taxes to benefit illegal migrants.
If you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take matters in our own hand, and we're going to stop it.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented, while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer.
We paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals.
Under your, 33%? When C. Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago, y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected.
President Joe Biden has, for the first time, authorized the use of U.S.-supplied long-range missiles by Ukraine to strike inside of Russia. That's according to one U.S. official and 3 people familiar with the matter. The decision is a major U.S. policy shift and comes as Biden is about to leave office. President Donald Trump has said he would bring a quick end to the war.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Aguayo, Salem News Channel.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. It was a big weekend for us Coloradans as Chris Wright was nominated by President Trump to become Secretary of Energy. This is big because Chris has been in conservative circles for a while, but he's not a big time conservative activist or anything like that. He just really cares about energy independence, like really cares about it. And has put his life into it. He's built successful companies in the fracking movement. But the big thing that he's going to bring to the table, and I attended a film screening he put on about a year ago now, is the notion of nuclear. If you really want to get into green, away from fossil fuels, all that stuff, it's going to have to come down to nuclear because the other systems just aren't powerful enough to carry the amount of energy. And I don't know if you saw this, Bill. There was a letter recently that Jared Polis put together that was essentially green energy isn't going to be able to carry the power load enough for all this AI that's being developed. Like AI requires a tremendous amount of energy, almost more energy than anything we've produced before. And the current loads aren't able to carry it. So,
yes, which means all of our bills are definitely going down then. That's one thing we are guaranteed as we move towards the AI and the Bitcoin. They're all going to be paying less for energy, right? No, we're not. Okay.
AI. To me, it's still, other than making funny pictures of Kyle Clark dressed as a border agent, hasn't done a lot for me.
We've talked about this. It's going to reach a maximum capacity because it has a learning cap. And the learning cap is based on the amount of knowledge and learning that we can feed into it, which is the whole of human history. It's coming very close to the learning cap, and it's not going to be able to develop beyond that. A large portion of what they're selling you on AI is bogus. Large portion of it. It can't do what they're saying it's going to. It just can't. It is as bogus as Elon Musk's robots at his event recently that were actually controlled by people. He's touting autonomous robots, and they were controlled by people behind the scenes. They were puppets. That's how real AI is at this point, unless there is a dramatic jump in either technology or the available knowledge. One of those two things has to happen, and neither of them are on the horizon. So, yeah, it's mostly a scam right now. It can do things like generate the pretty pictures and can take your order at McDonald's. But beyond that, there's
I'm not afraid it's going to take over the world and like launch weapons at people.
Well, not yet, but it told someone the other day to die. So, it's working well. Yeah.
All right. So
at least it said please beforehand, but still.
Here's Chris Wright's biography, by the way, that came out with the Trump announcement. He's self-described tech nerd turned entrepreneur. Chris Wright is the founder and chief executive officer and chairman of the board of Liberty Energy. Chris is a dedicated humanitarian with a passion for bringing the benefits of energy to every community. This passion has inspired a career in energy, working not only in oil and gas, but nuclear, solar, geothermal. Chris embraces all energy sources if they are abundant, affordable, and reliable. We're going to invite him on the show. Hopefully he'll join us. I've had wonderful experiences with him. He's come and spoken and addressed a few of the things we've done at the Centennial Institute over the years. Like I said, he's not a major conservative activist. He's just purely an energy guy who wants to make energy abundant, affordable, and reliable. He's brilliant. Completed his undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering at MIT, graduate work in electrical engineering at UC Berkeley and MIT. While some of the other picks from Trump are going to get wrapped up in a lot of politics and personal relationships, I think Chris is going to sail through. I think he's going to do a great job, and he's going to represent Colorado really well. So congratulations to Chris and Liz. All right, we'll get to the phone lines and more. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from the Butchery Restaurant in Arvada. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
All right, Billy, let's give the people what they want on this Monday morning because they probably need it.
All righty. Yes, it has been a very long weekend, and it's time for us to take a little liberties with this show. It's what we call You Choose the News. We are scouring the interwebs for mere moments this morning to find really, really dumb stories about us humans, giving them even more ridiculous headlines to play this fake radio news game show. Why? Nobody in charge has any idea we waste this precious, precious airspace and time. Yes, we do it just for you. And a little bit for us, too. Alrighty, gentlemen, Blake Olson in the newsroom, Jeff Hunt, and listeners, remember this is a secret, so shh, do not tell anybody. Your choices, sirs. Headline number 1, rodent party. Headline number 2, historic theme park. Headline number 3, Satan agrees. Headline number 4, Satan's fault. Alrighty, sir, your choice.
It's quite a show for Satan this morning.
It is.
He
was busy this weekend.
I'm gonna pick rodent party, just because I showed my wife a Instagram collection of videos of cats bringing mice into the house, and it was like watching my wife watch a horror movie.
You know what? You know why they do that?
Yeah, it's because they love you.
Yeah, because they want to contribute to the
exactly.
And if you tell them no, they will bring bigger items. This may be because of personal knowledge, where my wife found out that if she kept telling one of our cats to stop bringing little lizards in the door, eventually the cat brings home an entire bird. Yes, that happened. I had to chase a bird around the house. Bird wasn't dead. The cat was vicious, but still, just saying. You can tell the kitty it's a good thing, and do not tell them no. They'll keep bringing you bigger stuff.
Let's check out this rodent party.
Alrighty, here we are going to go to Airbus. Recently, Airbus has announced they have got a problem with one of their flights because they had too much of a party. The aircraft left Lisbon for Ponta Delgada with passengers and baggage and a large order for a pet shop, which included ferrets, birds, and more than 100 hamsters. And the hamsters escaped. More than 130 live rodents escaped from their transport boxes in flight, leaving maintenance teams trying to desperately round them up afterwards. And the thing they're worried about is them getting inside the plane and start nibbling on the cables and the wires. Yeah. So they've got, right now, they're down to only 16 that they have not found so far. But yes, basically 130 plus hamsters got
That's when you
inside of
just light the whole plane on fire.
Yeah, just say forget it at this point. Yeah, because hamsters are awful pets. They're horrible. They're only good for feeding to snakes. They're nasty. They're nasty little creatures.
They're great.
They are
What is
awful.
so wrong with a hamster?
They are awful little creatures that live for like 2 years. They're nothing more than a big furry mouse that doesn't have a tail. It's food for better animals and better pets. They're horrible. And I had them as a kid. They're awful creatures.
They're great
They're
little starter
not.
pets for
They're
kids.
stupid. You want to give them a starter pet, give them a pet rock. It's about as good. That's stupid. Seriously, I hate hamsters. I really hate hamsters. Okay. All righty. Blake Olson, your turn, sir. Historic theme park, Satan agrees, or Satan's fault?
Historic theme park.
It's like you guys are afraid of Satan or something. All right. You're forcing Jeff, though, to make the Satan choice.
There you go.
So I appreciate that one. Talk about a power move. So we got that Donald Trump thing earlier. Okay, here we go. Now, Roman citizens are furious with local government because they think that they're turning the Colosseum into a theme park. You may have heard the blockbuster movie release Gladiator 2 is coming. Directed by Ridley Scott, starring Denzel Washington, Paul Mescal, and under a deal that the Roman government has signed, Airbnb is now going to rent out the Colosseum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Now, this is actually phenomenally stupid.
It sounds so cool.
Guests are going to get to go there, and you're going to emerge out of tunnels, and you're going to do fake gladiator fights in the Colosseum.
Why is this stupid?
Yeah,
this sounds
stupid.
amazing.
It sounds ridiculously dumb.
Sign me up.
This sounds dumb.
Especially that's where all the Christians were.
But the idea is we go to these historic parts, and then we're going to get to cosplay what goes on there. It's not like we go to the Anne Frank house and go, shh, everybody hide. That's not what we do.
Those are a little different.
I wouldn't mind it if they had a Tyson's second fight in there. I would enjoy that.
Way to close the circle. That was fantastic, Blake. Yeah, so
I do my best.
Obviously, Roman citizens are like, this is stupid. We don't do this. You shouldn't be doing and turning these things into Disneyland. This is historical. Yeah, this is a historical landmark. We don't
Sign me up. That sounds great.
That sounds awful. That's so horrible. Alrighty, Jeff, your final choice. And you're left with Satan. Either Satan agrees or Satan's fault. Your choice, sir.
Well, let's hear about Satan's fault.
Yeah, Satan's fault. A rural Alabama police department has gone to social media and said, it's Satan's fault that you guys keep killing each other. Statement posted on Facebook by the Opp Police Department blames a spike in homicides on the idea that you have turned away from God and embraced Satan. They say, hey, this is happening because we have turned away from God and embraced Satan. We may have not meant to do so, but we have, and it's time to ask for God's help in stopping this. Oh, so I shouldn't call the police. I need to just call God? They're the one that's going to stop this?
Just say, Satan, get behind me.
Isn't he just going to push you off the cliff then? Just saying. I think that's the best place for him. If I can keep my eyes on him in front of him, I'm better off. All righty, back to you, sir.
All right, we'll continue the conversation. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 7 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. You're waking up in the greatest country in history. Donald Trump's about to be your president, and we're off and running. We got a whole nother hour planned for you of engaging discussions, critical analysis, most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver. Let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. A recap of the 6 o'clock hour. Jake Paul sucks. The NFL dances for Trump suck. Hamsters suck. And fake gladiator fights suck.
Yeah, hamsters really do suck.
According to Bill.
They're awful. Do not get your child a hamster. I'm sorry.
That was the most interesting little nerve. This is where, Billy and I have been doing this now for 10 months.
Yeah.
And you learn something new still.
Yeah, they're dumb pets. They bite you. They're just stupid.
It sounds
just like
Bill. It sounds like you got bit by a hamster.
Oh yeah, I did. Absolutely, because they're dumb pets. The thing is, I've been bitten by snakes. It's much easier, much better. Snakes are so much better. Reptiles are so much better pets. Cats are better pets. Dogs are better pets. Birds are better pets. Fish are better pets. Had all of them. Hamsters suck. They're awful pets. Do not
had a hamster.
Torture your child by giving them a hamster.
We had great experiences with hamsters. They got out, got into the walls, and I was terrified I was going to have to rip apart walls to get them out.
Oh, they'll
and
die.
The person's like, oh, no. Just put a little peanut butter out. They'll come back out. And lo and behold, that evening, they came right back out.
Either that or they'll die. It's really preferable. I really hate them. I really do.
We got under years again.
They're awful,
I'm
pets.
afraid, though, Bill, you're giving too much insight to your personal life to our more MAGA-loving listeners who now know quite a weakness you have. It's like your kryptonite.
What?
A hamster.
It's not my kryptonite. I'm not scared of them. What I will do is, if you give them to me, I will take them and I'll happily feed them to my pets. What kind of problem? That's the thing is, I remember when my daughters were asking me if they could get mice, hamsters, or rats as pets. I'm like, no, they're food. Those are not pets.
Can your snakes actually hunt them? Oh, because you feed frozen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
so are they now used to just kind of a meal showing up?
No. They're very Pavlovian in how the food shows up. But I have fed, let's see, hang on a second. 1, 2, 3 of them have been fed live prey over the course of their lifetimes. And what you have to do sometimes is you have to jumpstart the feeding process after they burmate. Again, probably not a nerd thing we want to go down. Snakes do a partial hibernation. And to bring them out of it, to really kickstart the metabolism again, oftentimes you'll feed live for, the first meal.
Yeah.
That's no big deal. No big deal at all. So
there you go.
Yeah, but normally size down prey as well, just to make it, just because they're coming out of a hibernation cycle.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, but again, no, I don't care. I can't say that on the air. No, I can't say that on
when
the air.
you do that, it's time to say
I cannot because
give something Kyle Clark to report about. Come on, Billy.
I am not afraid of hamsters. I will do them in with my own bare hands. I do not care. I don't have anything. The idea that hamsters are my kryptonite, no, I hate them. I don't care. I don't look at them as pets. Don't tell me that's a pet. But yeah, no, hate them. They're awful, awful pets. Do your kids a favor, get something or get a real pet. Don't try to do that. Don't do some of the weird training wheel pet thing.
They're great. They're great. All right. We've got a lot to get to. Coming up later in the show, 8 o'clock hour, Greg Lopez is going to join us. 9 o'clock, Rose Puglisi is going to join us. So we'll have Congressman from Congressional District 4 and the House Minority Leader. So a whole lot to cover, plus all the news and comment. But first, Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Morning, guys. Squirrels are great pets, but the problem is the government will come and kill them.
See, squirrels, yes. I know some people had pet squirrels. Pet squirrels are great.
Yeah.
Much more interactive.
Then you get a knock on your door.
Here's what's going to drive me
They're
crazy
fantastic.
about the whole New York squirrel thing. No one's going to get fired over that.
No.
That thing was so overblown. They bring in 7 agents or something 12 agents.
Yeah,
and then they ripped this guy's house apart because he had a squirrel, and they wouldn't let him even go to the bathroom. They were afraid he's gonna flush. What's he gonna flush down the toilet? He's there because they're there because of a squirrel.
I think
And
a
a raccoon.
small percentage of how people reacted to that
Help Trump.
Help Trump. I really do.
I agree too.
I do, man.
And
That
no
tells
one
a
will lose
big
their
story.
job over it.
No. It's ridiculous. 27 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 55 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
Воюют с Россией. А если это так, то, имея в виду изменение самой сути этого конфликта.
Russia's Vladimir Putin said in the fall, if Ukraine uses U.S. long-range missiles to strike Russia, the United States is at war with Russia. Multiple reports say that President Biden has authorized Ukraine to use U.S. long-range missiles to strike Russia. Imagine that. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said last week that the U.S. will rush every dollar at its disposal to Ukraine while Biden is still in office. Get the picture? The party of senseless wars, the Democrats, at it again. DJT with Zelensky a few months ago.
Too many people dead, too many beautiful cities. I've seen those cities. They're so beautiful, and that, I don't know how you can ever rebuild them the way they were. It's not possible.
You have to come, by the way, to see us.
I will. It's a beautiful country, beautiful weather, beautiful everything, but we have to get this over with. Yeah. But it's a war, and the president agrees this is a war that should have never happened.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is defending some of President-elect Trump's more controversial cabinet nominations. In an interview on CNN State of the Union, Johnson said Trump's picks will disrupt the status quo by design. He said the agencies will be needing reform. They need reform, and American people know that. Trump has faced criticism from both sides of the aisle for his unorthodox cabinet picks, including former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General and Fox News personality Pete Hegseth, and for Secretary of Defense. And Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma agrees with Gaetz and wanting to clean out the DOJ and the FBI.
The DOJ and the FBI has been politicized. There's no question about it. We've seen what they've done to President Trump. We've seen the attacks that they continue to go after him with. The DOJ is 100% weaponized. You saw the FBI and the fake Russia hoax. You saw the FBI shielding the Biden family and shielding the laptop from the American people during the election. If they don't want to come back and do their job, then we do need to revamp the system and say, hey, maybe we've got it wrong.
And John Bolton, what a shocker, doesn't like Tulsi Gabbard heading up intelligence.
Well, I think in the transition period, there's always a lot of blue smoke and mirrors from the incoming administration. This is a very serious mistake if Tulsi Gabbard is allowed to take over as Director of National Intelligence.
And plenty
Sorry,
over the week.
Juan, you're out there.
That's right.
Look, I've had both of them at the summit.
Yeah.
Tulsi
I
Gabbard.
forgot you had Bolton too.
Yeah, Bolton 1 year,
Okay.
and he was okay. I mean, he came in and spoke, left. Tulsi is the real deal. She is a very good person. She is very smart. She's going to lead a team. I think she's going to do a fantastic job. She's going to be loyal to the president and what he wants to do with regards to foreign policy and national intelligence. So, John's just wrong about this one.
Yep, you got that right. He's wrong about a lot of stuff lately. Plenty over the weekend ripping DJT for selecting RFK Jr. as director of HHS because the lefties, they'd rather have this.
Hi, I'm Admiral Rachel Levine, and we're here talking about food is medicine. I'm so excited to speak with Leah Pryor.
All right, get him out of there. DJT, or whatever that is. DJT nominating founder and CEO of Denver-based fossil fuel company Liberty Energy, Chris Wright, as Secretary of Energy. Trump made the announcement over the weekend saying Wright will be a key leader driving innovation, cutting red tape, and ushering in a new golden age of American prosperity and global peace.
When you hear crazy stuff today, check it out, dig a little deeper. Hurricanes are not growing. That's in the IPCC report. Tornadoes are actually on the decline. Floods, droughts, all of these things you hear ceaselessly, they just simply aren't so. It isn't even controversial that they're not so. But media, politicians just continually abuse these facts. And I'll end with one last fact. because anxiety is growing among kids. I'm sure everyone has seen that. 20% of kids go to bed at night worried about climate change. Your chance of dying from extreme weather today is greater than 95, has been reduced by more than 97% over the last century. There's just an absolute plummeting from 500,000 people a year dying from extreme weather to less than 10,000 the last couple of years.
Thank you very much.
3rd down and goal, 10th play of this Denver drive. Mims the motion man. Mims gets the toss. Blockers in front. Mims to the 5. Mims to the end zone. Denver touchdown.
Broncos beat the Falcons Sunday 38-6. Bo Nix threw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdown passes. The Chiefs lose their first game of the season to the Bills.
8 at the 34.
And the Buffaloes in Boulder over the weekend.
Sanders in a pocket. Oh, what a catch. Travis Hunter. Give him the Heisman now.
Colorado rolling over Utah 49-24 if you missed it on Saturday. 24 in Lakewood, 26 in Centennial, 27 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue on Monday morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Sunny. Temperatures will be in the 50s today with northwest breezes picking up a little bit this afternoon as a cold front approaches. Lows tonight will be chilly in the mid-20s with gusty northwest winds. On Tuesday, temperatures only in the upper 30s to near 40, slight chance of a snow shower and windy. Quite cold, teens and 20s Tuesday night, highs back to near 50 Wednesday. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free, no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back live with Jeff and Bill. News Talk 710 KNUS, Denver's talk leader. And you remember the snowstorm we had just last weekend? I know it was like really sunny and a beautiful day for a Broncos win yesterday, stomping those stupid birds, and it was fantastic. But let's talk about that snowstorm. You know, I had over 2 feet of snow near my house, and I was shoveling both our driveway and walk and driveway I do across the street. The weirdest thing for me is afterwards, I wasn't in any pain. And that's due to my friends at Balance Well Space. They literally have changed my life. The sciatica, the aches, the pains in my lower back. I had 2 vertebrae that are literally fusing together because of surgery I had more than 20 years ago. We have now pulled those vertebrae apart, and I'm regenerating the disc in between them as we speak. I'm also regenerating the meniscus in my left knee. Balance Well Space is different because of integrative medicine. They can make a huge change in your life because in one office visit, you can experience regenerative care, physical rehabilitation, wave therapy, trigger point injections, chiropractic care, neuropathic care, and so much more. They find out what hurts, what your goals are, put together a custom pain plan for you, and then they go to work. The coolest thing is they reevaluate you every couple of weeks. I just did a reevaluation last week. I've reached the goals of where I want to be based on pain and movement, and now we're just making sure I'm still rowing in the right direction. Now, here's something cool. You've got a chance to go and visit with the people at Balance Well Space and have an open house. Talk to them about what they do and find out about something really, really cutting edge. Hormone replacement. Remember when you were little and you're complaining to mom and dad about, no, I don't want to take a nap. And now, all you want is a nap in the afternoon. You would do anything to be able to lie down for an hour and a half and just get some rest. It's not because you're running out of energy. It's because your body has changed. Your hormones have changed. I've done this 3 times with them. Bioidentical hormone replacement. There's one time when I was really, really dragging, and they said, hey, can we try something? It's literally amazing. You feel like you're 13, 14, 17 again. It's completely non-invasive. It's just an IV, but find out about bioidentical hormone replacement and talk to the rest of the Balance Well Space team about the difference they can make in your life. It's a special open house that is happening on December 3rd 5 p.m. That's a Tuesday. Complimentary wine, cheese, crackers. The staff is going to be there to answer all of your questions. Hang around, talk to them. Talk to Dr. Julie, Dr. Jess. See what they're doing. Talk to the representatives about this hormone replacement. It can change your life, but you got to save a space. You got to go to balancewellspace.com and reserve your space for this very special evening on December 5th, a Tuesday, 5 p.m. at their location in Lowry. New offices right across from Hangar 2. Super easy to find, and the best thing is for that Tuesday evening, it's plenty of parking. There is so much parking there. It's going to be easy for you to get in and out. And again, complimentary wine, cheese, crackers. Talk to the team about bioidentical hormone replacements. It's taken me from a point where I'm looking at like 50% energy to where I am back to 100%. They've given it to me a couple of times. Not something that you have to do each and every time. Your hormones wax and wane. They increase and they decrease based on your biology. As we get older, your body just isn't producing as many hormones as it did when we were younger. Remember the teenage years and those raging hormones? Yeah, I don't have those anymore, do you? No. But that's the example. That's what we're talking about. No, you're not going to go back to those teenage raging hormone years, but you're going to feel better than you have in decades. But the only thing you have to do is just make that call. Balancewellspace.com, balancewellspace.com. And when you reach out to the team, tell me you heard about him here on the Jeff and Bill Show because it helps us out. So thanks a lot.
That's great to hear, Bill. Man, he's looking good and strong and fit. All because of Balance
and not
Space.
Aching. That's the best part. The thing was, it was that snow.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm getting the next day and I'm not in the pain that I normally was, that was nuts. Yeah, it's crazy. So coming out, wine and cheese on December 5th.
Let's go to the phone lines. Barney, you're on
Barney.
Jeff and Bill Show.
Well, I called about AI, but since you started talking, well, first off, does Blake Olson, is he bigger than both you guys? Like, could he kick the crap out of both of you? Because he sounds really cranky. And today would be a good day for him to kick the crap out of Billy after the hamster comment.
Hamsters are awful pets. I'm sorry if you have hamsters,
I'd love
Barney,
to hear
but they're
that
awful.
on air.
They're awful pets.
But I won't talk about AI. I want to talk about picks. Billy, you cannot count. You've got to admit, RFK is not that bad of a guy. First off, any of these picks that don't wear dresses and lipsticks, I'm good with them. End of story. And Tulsi Gabbard, we fell in love with her when she was on stage with Biden and Harris. And she pulled out a bayonet and she went at him. So
doesn't Tulsi wears lipstick in a dress? You don't like her?
Say it again.
Tulsi wears lipstick in a dress, so you don't like her? I'm confused.
Like with RFK, I mean, you guys, the Democrats are acting like he's the Antichrist, and
oh no, he's just a lunatic. He's not the Antichrist. He's just a lunatic.
Say it again.
He's not the Antichrist.
I can't hear you guys. You know what?
Call us back, Barney. Yeah, it's RFK Jr. is not the Antichrist. He's just a lunatic. His ideas are just farcical, but that's okay. He may be in charge. Alrighty, buckle up. hope everybody loves having the mumps and measles. That'll be fun. How about whooping cough? I'm going to return there. That's going to be fantastic.
My understanding, listening to him, and I'm not a huge RFK biographer or anything like that, is he's not opposed to vaccines. He's opposed to some of the ingredients in the vaccines, and he's opposed to the whole intense regimen of vaccines. But he's not like totally never take a vax type of guy, is he?
Because he's been vaccinated. Oddly enough, the stuff that he rails against, he's had. That's weird. The thing is that he's another example of Dunning-Kruger effect. A person that believes he has vastly more knowledge than he actually does and speaks from a point of authority, not knowing.
How do you explain the rise in autism?
I don't think. Why do I have to?
Well, that's one of the concerns, right?
Yeah.
Is that I think people are trying to piece that together.
Well, here's the thing.
We've had this massive rise of autism, and then you have this very intense vaccine regimen that's even more intense than what we took as kids.
Here's the idea. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because this is super important. And this is why RFK Jr. is a problem. Correlation is not causation. Because something has risen doesn't mean it's caused by something else. Because it's enumerated eloquently by your question.
Yeah.
How do you explain the rise in autism?
Right.
I can't explain the rise in autism, but the default answer is, since I don't have an answer, it's not vaccines.
But why wouldn't you go look at stuff like vaccines? Why not analyze that?
Hang on a sec. Why do we assume we haven't? Why is that the assumption? That's what I don't understand in this conversation. And this is RFK's assumption as well. His assumption is that we haven't looked at it, and we have. And there's no correlation. There's no scientific.
There's no scientific evidence. Zero connection between vaccines and autism. Zero.
Yes, the one that came out in the 90s has been pulled back because the science was crap. There is zero, but this fallacy exists, and RFK Jr. is operating off of it. There is zero connection between autism rises and vaccine rates. Zero. And RFK Jr. is dangerous. Okay, I didn't know we were going to go down this road. We'll talk about what he did in Samoa. What he did in American Samoa. American Samoa, a number of years ago, they were having some issues getting people vaccinated against measles. There were 2 young girls that died after getting the vaccine for measles. RFK Jr. went down there along with his organization and persuaded people not to get the vaccine because it obviously killed these little girls.
Did it?
No. You know what it was?
What?
The 2 nurses involved in both those cases accidentally injected a muscle relaxer instead of the vaccine.
Yikes.
Made a mistake. But RFK and his group went down there and screamed to high heaven about how you shouldn't get vaccinated because these vaccines killed these little girls. He was wrong, 110% wrong. Guess what happened? Vaccine rates fell and they had a measles outbreak and more people died. Because he came down there and pushed bogus science, people died. That's the issue. He can go and he can be segregated, but understand he's pushing bogus science, and that's the problem. It's just like the argument, or not the argument, the question. Well, how do you explain the rise in autism? It's not vaccines. That's not the default answer, and science has proven that over and over again. And the reason why I am confident in saying science has proven this over and over again, because I went and freaking looked.
Yeah,
I have a son that came into this world with learning disabilities and problems and suffered a stroke within the first 24 hours that he took his first breath. In fact, when he came out, he wasn't breathing. That's after he was intubated. I went and did the research because I had heard about it. I have been following this. I was really concerned about what were going to be the impacts on my young son's biology because of the trauma he suffered at birth. I went and spent hours looking at this. And you know what I found? I found bupkis. I found crap. I found nothing. And I have been following this for years.
You don't think that there's any health? Do you think that there's any health consequences to the vaccine regimen, the schedules, all that stuff?
There are side effects to any vaccine and any medicine. And that includes, all you COVID fans, ivermectin. It includes that too. There is no medicine that doesn't have side effects. All vaccines do come with side effects, but all vaccines also have been approved and we've been using them for years, and we can look at the backfills, what's going on. And there is some issue about the mercury delivery system that RFK was talking about years ago, but it's not used anymore. We don't use mercury to deliver vaccines anymore. So
but
even
was he wrong to talk about that?
Even if it was right, it doesn't exist now. That would be like complaining about an issue that doesn't exist. That's fine. He can be still mad about it, but it doesn't exist because that is not what we use as a preservative inside of vaccines anymore. So it doesn't matter.
But when they were using it, did he raise concerns about it?
Yeah, he did. And there are some instances where there are some concerns. Guess what it wasn't doing, though? Causing autism. The mercury wasn't causing the autism. Wasn't doing that.
What was it doing?
No. There are some other health issues that go on because of the heavy metal. There are some other health issues that can happen. But again, that is in a small portion of all the people that have been vaccinated.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. And again, I'm no Robert F. Kennedy apologist. I'm not diving. I'm not saying it's the greatest choice ever. Because I do have concerns, especially on his abortion perspectives. But here's what I hear the left saying, or progressives. Because he got these things wrong, he is going to be terrible for HHS pick, and everyone's going to be sicker, and the whole world's going to be worse. Aren't there areas that he's been good? Wasn't he one of the major guys to fight like a lot of the chemicals going into the Hudson River? His effort to take on kind of the obesity epidemic, the food we're putting in our bodies, all that stuff. Isn't that stuff that we want him to fight? And hasn't he been good on some stuff? Or is he just terrible on everything?
He's not terrible on everything. There are some things that he's been right about. The problem is this. In a Republican administration, him getting the stuff out of the water isn't going to happen. You're not going to strengthen the EPA. So even if he's right about that, doesn't matter. Take that off the table.
Yeah.
That's not something that's going to happen. So even if that's something he's good at, doesn't matter. Some of the other stuff on health, he's been in the general vicinity and area of what's right, but he hasn't been 110% right.
Like
and
the dyes? Isn't he opposed to the dyes?
And some of them, and some of the dyes are absolutely wrong. But I'll see if I can bring up some of the stuff he said recently about Ozempic. That is mind-numbingly stupid. Mind-numbingly stupid. His comments on Ozempic and how he thinks it works and what he thinks. He thinks, I believe, oh, God, I have to go back. I'm sorry, I'm fighting a really bad cold today. I'm pretty sure that he talked about it. It's either causing mental health issues or something else. It's not even close to it. That he's linking Ozempic to some really lunacy. And that's recent history. That's in the last couple of months. He doesn't understand how science works. And he speaks from a point of authority and makes it sound like he knows what he's talking about. And he doesn't know anything. But he's going to be put in charge. That's a danger. That is a danger. But again, I'm just hoping that, the lead paint tastes as good as it did when we were kids. Because that's what we're going back to. Really hoping.
It seems so extreme. Lead? How are we going back to lead paint?
I'm using it to be facetious. I'm using it in the fact that his idea of what makes everything healthy and his are so skewed that he would believe that lead paint would be healthy for you. I'm just being facetious about it.
But and this is where I find the critique a little bit overblown, because I see him leading in some areas that I agree with him on, especially with food. The quality of the food that we're putting into our bodies and that effort. I've seen him win cases, watched his little RFK documentary he put out when he was running president. He seems to have a track record in certain directions. There's others I don't agree with, but still, okay, I may not be anti-vax like he is, but holy cow, were we sold a bad good of bills on the COVID vaccine from a whole bunch of people that are now criticizing RFK. So the whole the whole foundation for trust is just gone. And so I watched the same people that were telling me if I just took the COVID vaccine, that I wouldn't spread this thing to other people, and then shame everybody for not taking it, threaten them with their jobs. It was incredible what that side pushed. Now I'm watching a lot of those same people go, well, RFK is a lunatic when it comes to vaccines. I'm going, well, yeah. You sold us a bad bill of goods too. So the whole thing for me is built, the foundation of trust has just crumbled. That's why when I'm watching these critiques, I go, well, sorry, I just don't necessarily trust you. Somebody I do trust though, Colorado's Best Roofing. If you're like me, you know that living in Colorado means dealing with unpredictable weather, hail, snow, heavy winds, you name it, we've got it. That's why you need a roofing company you can trust, and that's Colorado's Best Roofing. They're local, family-owned, and have served the Denver area for over 12 years. They understand our unique climate and know how to build a roof that lasts, whether you need a repair after a storm or a whole new roof. Colorado's Best Roofing has got you covered. And here's what I really love. They offer a free, no-obligation inspection. They'll come out, take a look, give you an honest assessment. No pressure, no gimmicks, just straight talk from the pros. Plus, they work with your insurance company to make sure you get the coverage you deserve. So don't wait until the next big storm hits. Give Colorado's Best Roofing a call today at 303-797-7663. That's 303-797-7663. Or visit them at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Trust the best. Colorado's Best Roofing. Feel free to give us a call, 303-696-1971, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Do you trust Donald Trump's picks to help lead this country? Are there certain ones out there that are really giving you a second guess as to whether or not they're going to be good for our country? Would love to hear from you. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We're Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
Former U.S. Army captain and Green Beret John Frankman has his heart set on Matt Gaetz's Florida Senate seat and is the first to officially announce that he's running. Frankman announced his candidacy on his X account saying, "I'm a Special Forces Green Beret who was forced out of the military for refusing to take the COVID shot. Now I'm running for Congress in Matt Gaetz's seat to support President Trump and his agenda. I fought for our freedoms in the Army, and I'm ready to do it again. Join me. Frankman says that Northwest Florida deserves a leader who will unapologetically stand up for our conservative values and keep our voice front and center in Congress. Frankman served 8 years in the Army before he was forced out for refusing to take the jab. The Houston Astrodome has been in limbo, waiting for its chance at a second life since being shuttered more than 15 years ago. A nonprofit focused on saving the stadium unveiled its $1 billion proposal to refurbish it. Over the years, there have been plenty of ideas for its redevelopment, including everything from turning it into an indoor water park to flooding its sunken floor in order to reenact naval battle scenes. But none of these plans got enough public support or financing. Officials with the Astrodome Conservancy have confidence in their proposal, but there is an initial lack of support from local entities that would need to give their okay for the project to move forward.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Owayo, Salem News Channel.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from the Butchery Restaurant in Arvada. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. So, over the weekend, this podcast came out, this conversation between Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal, and Barry Weiss, who runs the Free Press, which I really like the Free Press, by the way. I'm reading an article here today we may could talk about tomorrow about Justine Bateman and how she became like this great Gen X leader that broke for Trump. Go check out the Free Press. They're at thefp.com, but had a fascinating conversation. If you remember, Peter Thiel was really one of the first tech guys to come out in support of Donald Trump way back in 2016, co-founder of PayPal, very successful early investor into Facebook, a gay guy, but doesn't really like the labels and rejects the kind of wokeness that took over the Democrat Party. And here he is talking with Barry Weiss, editor of the Free Press.
What the announcement solidifies, if Trump's win hadn't already, is the triumph of the counter elite. In other words, a bunch of oddball outsiders pulled together, got behind Trump, and ran against an insular band of out-of-touch elites supported by every celebrity in Hollywood. And the oddballs won. And they're about to reshape not just the government, but also American culture in ways I don't think we can fully imagine.
That's Barry Weiss summarizing her conversation. We'll get into later clips with Peter Thiel, but the oddballs won. And when you think about the entire machine that came up against Donald Trump, the fundraising machine, the educational machine, the entertainment machine, even the legal machine that came up to try to stop him. This was not like 2016. This was not the Democrats asleep at the wheel and lo and behold, Donald Trump sneaks by at the last second. They understood who Donald Trump was. They understood the threat that Donald Trump was to their power, and they unleashed the full breadth of the progressive dominant machine. You think about all the fundraisers. You think about all the educators. You think about the entire media establishment and entertainment establishment up against him, and they still lost. And when you look at the team that Donald Trump built, especially there at the end, that included Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, Robert F. Kennedy, Dana White, Joe Rogan, that were all kind of out there in support of him, that you saw at the UFC fight over the weekend, for instance. I think that's a good description. It's a little oddball group. He built this little oddball group, and the American people went with that. And now he's building his cabinet, and it's a little bit of an oddball cabinet too. And they're going to change things. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. 303-696-1971. What do you think the oddballs are going to do? Do you like the fact that the oddballs are going to be in control? Do you like the fact that this machine that the Democrats had built, I mean, the power of the social media companies they controlled, the power of big tech that they controlled really up until this election when you had some big tech break with them, every celebrity imaginable out there, and they weren't able to win. What does that say about the American people? What does that mean for the direction of this country? Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplos Law text line, 720-819-5115. Bill, do you think the oddballs won?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's not oddballs as it's the island of misfit toys. I mean, I understand the tech thing you're talking about, but the crypto guys and tech kind of fell in line behind Trump, not behind Harris. And Elon Musk used his tech platform to be as staunchly pro-Trump as he possibly could. You think they were censoring people though, like the Democrats do on their side? Yeah, absolutely he does. Yeah, we know he does. Yeah.
Musk censors.
Yes, quite a bit. I
think Kyle Clark does just as much reach as he always does.
No, Musk censors people all the time, and we had one in this election cycle. There was a hack by Iran on the Oppo research, or the pre-research on JD Vance. There was a reporter that posted that on X. Donald and then Elon Musk spiked it, prevented it from being reported, and suspended the guy's account. And there are a long list of stuff. Yes, Elon Musk suspends people all the time. Yes, he does it all the time. All the time. Yes. Yeah, that's okay. It's his platform. And that's been my argument with all the other platforms. Their platform, stop looking for this giant, enormous idea of benefit for the rest of mankind. No, they're trying to make money all the time. And that's content moderation as well. All of them do it. It's content moderation. And Elon got to choose his content moderation. Elon Musk, we know, based on reporting, that when Joe Biden had a tweet that was larger than Elon Musk's, he changed the algorithm to push his. Yes, Elon Musk censors people. Elon Musk decides who can speak and who can't. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely he does. Am I sitting here screaming about it, saying, oh my God, what's he doing? This is horrible. No. His platform. He can do what he wants with it. I've been consistent on this. I'm not the one who's been screaming about big tech censorship. No, never been screaming about it.
So going back to the question of the oddballs, you don't think the oddballs won against the machine?
No. Now, Democrat machine per se, but didn't the Republicans have a machine? They had the RNC, you had the Senate committee, you had the House committee. There were big machines on both sides. Now, Donald Trump approached it a little bit differently with Charlie Kirk's get out the vote and with Musk get out the vote. And what we're seeing is that the Democrats, the big giant machine, did what we expect Democrat big giant machines to do: spend money stupidly. They spent money in ridiculously dumb ways.
$2.5 million on Oprah.
Yeah. And again, the idea, it didn't necessarily pay her, but what it did is it paid Harpo, and that paid the people that were in Oprah's employ in order to help it, to make that happen. That's not unusual for that to happen. However, given the amount of money that Oprah has, it would seem to be logical that she would just eat the entire cost for that, and seems stupid that the DNC would have to reimburse Oprah's employees for work that they were doing because they weren't working for the DNC. Again, dumb way to spend money. And I'm diving into it. I'm finding some really, really big mistakes on the Democrat get out the vote machine, as far as people that were cashing big checks and just going, well, the machine's so big, I really don't have to do my job. I don't have to do the hard work in order to make sure all the people turn out, because we're going to win anyway. We got $1 billion. We got this. They started to do the Scrooge McDuck thing and swim around inside a big giant pool of money. They made some awful decisions. Awful decisions.
Yeah. I don't want to offend you too much.
That's okay. Believe me, it won't. I heard the quote this morning, and you're not going to like what I have to say about
it. Peter Thiel has some comparisons made between Donald Trump and some Star Wars characters. And here it is.
I know these things are overdetermined, but I keep thinking part of it is just this sort of straitjacket is not what you all signed up for. This intellectual straitjacket where you're not allowed to have ideas. Even if you agree with 80%, it's never enough. You have to be 100%. And one of the other metaphors I've used is that, the left, the Democratic Party, it's like the empire. They're all imperial stormtroopers. And, we're the ragtag rebel alliance. And it's a uncomfortably diverse, heterogeneous group. And you have, a teenage Chewbacca and a Princess Leia type character. And then we have a autistic C-3PO policy wonk person. And it is it's a ragtag rebel alliance against the empire.
Are the Republicans the rebel alliance?
Peter Thiel's never seen the movies. He's never seen the movies. He never has.
I don't know the movies either, but I generally know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and he's wrong.
Why is that?
Completely wrong. Well, one, he's never seen the movies based on the thing that he's talking about. Here's the thing, is the Republicans are not the rebel alliance. Guess what? The Democrats also not the rebel alliance. That is a misinterpretation and a misunderstanding of the entire storyline of the series. This is a dude that maybe he's seen it once on TV on a Saturday and it was running across and he watched part of it and he thought, oh, these guys are cool. I don't know what he's seen.
Who would you put?
But he has missed it. He has missed it.
Who's the rebel alliance?
The rebel alliance doesn't fit neatly into any specific category. I don't think there is a political party that fits what you would say is the rebel alliance.
Yeah.
I think that both political parties, not at all. Both political parties take on ideas of the rebel alliance, but in their own way. But they are much, much closer to either the old Senate or the Galactic Empire. Those are the two things that you can see based on the politics and based on the movie. There isn't a political.
What about
party
the
that goes with
point? What about the point
rebels,
he's
rebels.
trying to make that the
stupid.
progressives are essentially this monolithic, don't disagree with us. If you disagree with us at any capacity, you're out. And I know what you're going to say about rhinos, and that Trump built this notion or this group of kind of ragtag oddballs that were able to defeat it. Do you think there's monolithic thinking within the left?
I think there's monolithic thinking on the left and the right.
Yeah.
And I think he's incorrect on he wants to be the pluckies rebels. That's what he wants to be. He's desiring to be this, and he's not. He's not at all. I don't think he's seen the movie.
Well, give us a call, 303-696-1971. Do you agree with Peter Thiel that the left forces you into an intellectual straitjacket? They're essentially the imperial stormtroopers, and that what Trump was able to build was a ragtag group of oddballs that have now defeated the imperial stormtroopers, the dark side. Give me a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Could lead a great organization out there fighting the bad guys on the big intergalactic level. My friend Dan Caplis and Dan Caplis Law. I've known Dan for well over a decade. This guy is pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. He's right there with us on the values. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Caplis is the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Okay, so he's a good guy, but can he win? Absolutely. Listen to this. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado cases. It gets even bigger. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Caplis Law is so trusted that they're the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. If you need Dan's help, give him a call, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLIS law.com. Phone lines are full. We'll get to those in a second. Is Donald Trump beating those imperial stormtroopers with his ragtag group of oddballs? You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We've got full phone lines. We're going to get to them in the Star Wars debate. And I knew this would get Billy going, especially with his expertise. But look, if you're looking for some great food this upcoming next week, you got family coming in. We got family coming in. You got to check out the Black Eyed Pea of Colorado. They're locally owned and operated by Steve and Michelle, and I love this restaurant. It was packed last time we were there. Everybody enjoying this quality home cooking comfort food with 8 locations. There's sure to be one to be near you. When's the last time you took your family to eat at the Black Eyed Pea? Thanksgiving will be here soon, and it's easier to give thanks when you don't have to cook. The Black Eyed Pea will be opened on Thanksgiving Day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and will be serving your holiday favorites: roasted turkey breast dinner, old-fashioned country ham, slow-cooked pot roast, all for just $24. There's also a kids menu as well. Bring the whole family, savor them for dessert. Pumpkin pie, pecan pie, those cherry cobblers with ice cream. Holiday catering is also available. I love everything about this restaurant. I know you will as well. Let them do the cooking for you and keep it in Colorado. Visit the Black Eyed Pea near you. When you're talking about make America healthy again, we're not talking about eating crickets. We're talking about eating quality food, no more of that processed crap. That's what you got at the Black Eyed Pea. Real high quality home cooked meals made with quality ingredients. Go check out Black Eyed Pea. All right, let's go to Lewis. Aurora. Good morning, Lewis. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, good morning.
Wow, blessed morning, guys. You got it right. I'm in Aurora, not Denver. But hey, they're not the oddball. They are the adults. We know almost all of these that he has picked. With Biden, the only one I knew was Garland, and that we praise God that he's not on the Supreme Court. But Blinken and Sullivan, I never heard of these guys. But all these others, and Gates, all these, they are the adults. They are taking over and getting our nation back and guiding us.
Lewis, would you have trusted Joe Biden if he would have picked one of the ladies off The View to run like Health and Human Services? Because because Trump is picking some dude off a weekend show on Fox to do Department of Defense.
Oh, come on, Bill. He's got a great military track record.
Not next to the generals that are going to be sitting in the room with him. Not even close. That's the issue.
You can't just dismiss you can't just say he was just a TV host. He's not just a TV host.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He also has a best-selling book. That was important to Trump.
Yeah, but he served his country.
He's a lieutenant colonel.
So did hundreds and hundreds of other people. But he doesn't rise to the rank of where he would be. He wouldn't be in line of DOD in any other place.
Oh, please, give me a break, Billy.
No, in this clown car. This is it.
We got to keep on praying for you because you've lost your mind.
No, Hegseth, seriously? That's the guy that we think is going to be the head of the Department of Defense. That's the guy that we think can manage the largest employer in America. Dude that has managed like a small group of people.
Do you have a degree from Yale or Harvard or anything like that?
Lewis, guess what? This happens all the time. People always do this. You're not as smart. I'm going to make fun of you. Guess what? I'm not. Hey,
you,
Lewis,
the
hang on. Lewis.
Don't be like a Democrat.
Hey, Lewis.
Answer the question.
Lewis, guess what? I'm not nominated for DOD. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what my I'm not. No, Lewis, I don't have to because I'm open. Lewis, I am open about where I went to school. It's a state school. I'm open about it. I've never been shy about it. I went to CSU Pueblo. So what? Not the best school. No, it's not Harvard or Yale. But guess what? Okay. I'm also not running. I'm also not asking to run in the Department of Defense. So even if I am a know-nothing stupid loser, that doesn't matter in the conversation because we're talking about Hegseth and his lack of qualifications, not mine.
Lewis, appreciate the call.
This microphone.
We'll continue. We got one open line. Lewis's line's open, 303-696-1971. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 8 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. Into the Jeff Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. It's a beautiful day in the greatest country in history, and we're off and running. We got a whole nother hour of engaging discussions, critical analysis, but most importantly, your calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver. Let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up after news and comment, we'll get to some phone calls as we debate. Peter Thiel essentially saying that Donald Trump is the Rebel Alliance defeating those Imperial stormtroopers that have put everybody in intellectual straitjackets. Do you agree with him? Give us a call. A little bit later, we're going to talk to Greg Lopez, congressman from District 4. He's got some words for Pete Buttigieg. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, Rose Puglisi is going to join us. Before we get to news and comment with Blake Olson, I want to tell you about my good friends over at Empower Home and Gay Ribble. Did you know that last year, over 49% of homes listed did not sell with the real estate agent who took the initial listing? This cost home sellers thousands of dollars in lower offers and painful holding costs. Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team of Keller Williams have a track record of selling homes fast and get their home sellers 6.1% more money on average, netting their sellers $30,500 more in your pocket. Holy cow. After dealing with this Biden economy, are you ready to have $30,500 more in your pocket? Look, if you're selling your home, you got to go with the pros. They are experts out there when it comes to selling homes, even in a tough economy like this. Go with the team that doesn't just make empty promises, but can actually provide proof of their experience and a track record of getting homes sold for top dollar. Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team is so confident in the services they provide and the results that they can get you that if you're not happy, you can cancel at any time at no cost to you. This is their cancellation promise. Call 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD, or visit gayasthebuyers.com. That's GAYE hasthebuyers.com. Let's check in on news and comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Billy. 29 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 55 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
Воюют с Россией. А если это так, то, имея в виду изменение самой сути этого конфликта.
Vladimir Putin in Ukraine is reportedly getting the okay from President Biden to use U.S.-made long-range missiles to strike Russia. At the same time, there are reports Ukraine plans to launch strikes in the coming days. This comes after news of North Korea soldiers arriving at the front to fight alongside Russian troops. In September, Vladimir Putin, who you just heard, said that if Ukraine uses U.S.-made missiles on Russia, the U.S. is at war with his country.
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership.
DJT nominating founder and CEO of Denver-based fossil fuel company Liberty Energy, Chris Wright, as Secretary of Energy.
When you hear crazy stuff today, check it out, dig a little deeper. Hurricanes are not growing. That's in the IPCC report. Tornadoes are actually on the decline. Floods, droughts, all of these things you hear ceaselessly, they just simply aren't so. It isn't even controversial that they're not so. But media, politicians just continually abuse these facts. And I'll end with one last fact, because anxiety is growing among kids. I'm sure everyone has seen that. 20% of kids go to bed at night worried about climate change.
And President Biden, who pushes this garbage, is in Brazil for the start of the G20 summit. World leaders are set to discuss international efforts in fighting hunger, sustainable development, and reforming global governance institutions. That sounds frightening.
I just want to remind everybody here real quick, Blake, that at one point we had a president, former president, that took a trip via boat through the Amazon River and lived out there. His name was Teddy Roosevelt.
Right.
It was real adventures. They're going to talk
right.
about how Joe Biden's going to visit the Amazon for the first time. This first president's ever visited the Amazon.
Yes.
All right. We had a guy that actually lived out there for a while. And
Absolutely.
make America Teddy Roosevelt again.
Right. And didn't have the technology that we have now. You
Right.
know? It's amazing. Did you see the video of Biden in the Amazon? It looks so weird. I mean, I thought it was fake at first. I didn't know, but yeah, it's out there. I'll try to find it.
Oh my gosh, I want to find that. Put it on X.
Yep, beautiful. DJT's pick for defense secretary admits he paid a woman who accused him of sexual assault. The attorney for Pete Hegseth denies that the alleged assault took place, but says Hegseth paid the woman as a part of a civil confidential settlement agreement. Police in Monterey investigated the allegations at the time, but didn't file charges. The trial.
Hold on. I found the video.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You got it? Doesn't it look like it's chroma keyed? Like it's AI?
It totally looks like it's chroma keyed. It looks like this
It's
is something
real,
that could
right?
be in like the San Diego Zoo.
Yes.
And he's just like walking down a little dirt path.
Yes. I mean, honestly, I thought it was
Oh
fake.
my goodness.
Isn't that great? Good stuff. You got to check it out. The trial of an illegal immigrant accused of killing Georgia nursing student Laken Riley is back underway. On Friday, prosecutors said that forensic and video evidence proves Jose Ibarra murdered Riley in February. Police have recovered an expensive car that was stolen from Colorado Rockies third baseman Chris Bryant. Investigators say the 2023 Lamborghini Huracan was being shipped from Bryant's home in Cherry Hills Village to his off-season home in Las Vegas when it disappeared in early October. The car was found a few days later, and several suspects were arrested as a part of the investigation. Police say the suspects hacked the email system of the company transporting the car, allowing the delivery to be rerouted to another location. The car is valued by the Kelly Blue Book at more than $340,000.
Knicks on the roll and a dart to the 30-yard line. Courtland Sutton on the run. Or rather down the sideline, little Jordan Humphrey. Humphrey with the touchdown. 41 yards and a score.
Broncos beat the Falcons 38-6. Bo Nix threw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Those games are a lot of fun. They're, what you work for. They're why you play the game, for experiences like that. All the receivers, tight ends, they just made plays when their number was called. I think there's no telling how many guys caught a pass today.
And the Chiefs lose their first game of the season to the Bills on the road in Buffalo.
8 at the 34.
Speaking of Buffaloes,
Sanders
in Boulder, Saturday.
Sanders in a pocket. Oh, what a catch. Travis Hunter. Give him the Heisman now.
They keep on rolling. Colorado CU 49-24 over Utah on Saturday. 26 in Lafayette, 28 in Aurora, and 29 in Denver. Jeff and Bill continue Monday morning. Blake Olson.
Is he bigger than both you guys? Like, could he kick the crap out of both of you? Because he sounds really cranky. And today would be a good day for him to kick the crap out of Billy
I love Barney. Thank you, Barney. He's great. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Sunny. Temperatures will be in the 50s today with northwest breezes picking up a little bit this afternoon as a cold front approaches. Lows tonight will be chilly in the mid-20s with gusty northwest winds. On Tuesday, temperatures only in the upper 30s to near 40, slight chance of a snow shower and windy. Quite cold, teens and 20s Tuesday night, highs back to near 50 Wednesday. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free, no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We'll get to the phone lines here in just a second. I want to talk to you about my good friend Dan Kaplis and Dan Kaplis Law. I've known Dan for well over a decade. This guy's pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. He shares our values. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. He's the son of a police officer. Dan Kaplis is a former seminarian, so he can translate some Greek and Latin there for you. But more than that, he is a real winner. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. It gets bigger. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. He's a real winner. He's with you on the values. He's a titan in the courtroom. He's so trusted that Dan Kaplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Kaplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. And you're probably saying to yourself, I can't afford him. It's not true. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. Look, chances are you're not on the side of the road in a car accident right now. But when you are, and you're having to deal with the police and the insurance companies, and you're calling your family and you're getting your car towed, you want his phone number in your phone. So just open up your contacts, put Dan Kaplis Law, and here's his phone number, 303-770-5551. That's 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. Let's go to Dwayne Divide. Good morning, Dwayne. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. So glad to talk with you here. A couple of weeks after all the puffery's come down, we still see that people are concerned about, what damage he's going to do after 4 years of a lot of damage in different ways. So I have to sit there and wonder how bad can Trump be after what we've been through with Biden.
Yeah, I mean, it can't get, from my perspective, it can't get much worse. That's why a lot of the screaming and hand-wringing, especially from people that have built their entire careers in a over-bloated federal government, don't really affect me. I want somebody that's going to go in there and shake everything up and essentially weaken the power of the federal government, from my perspective. What do you think, Dwayne?
Well, that was what was in the Constitution. It should be very little government interference in your lives.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be a lot of hand-wringing. You're going to get these doom and gloom scenarios. If we cut this from the budget, everything's going to fall apart. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's organization is going to starve the federal government, and we're all not going to be able to live the great lives we have as a result of it. I just think it's a lot of hand-wringing by people who rely on the deep state, make their money off of it. I mean, I lived in D.C., huge mansions. It's the wealthiest zip code in America. That all needs to be taken on. So I guess I'll ask you this, Dwayne. Do you think that, like Peter Thiel said in the previous hour, by the way, here's the audio.
I know these things are overdetermined, but I keep thinking part of it is just this sort of straitjacket is not what you all signed up for. This intellectual straitjacket where you're not allowed to have ideas. Even if you agree with 80%, it's never enough. You have to be 100%. And one of the other metaphors I've used is that, the left, the Democratic Party, it's like the empire. They're all imperial stormtroopers. And, we're the ragtag rebel alliance. And it is it's a uncomfortably diverse, heterogeneous group. And you have, I don't know, a teenage Chewbacca and a Princess Leia type character. And then we have a autistic C-3PO policy wonk person. And it is it's a ragtag rebel alliance against the empire.
Dwayne, do you agree with Peter Thiel?
I agree with Billy on this one. This guy never saw the movies. never saw the movies.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm a Star Trek man, and I've only seen a couple of the Star Wars ones because, well, she was pretty, and I was already having the popcorn bought. So I said, yeah, okay, we'll go watch Star Wars. We have more of a situation. We have the mandate bill, popular vote, House, Congress. Everybody says the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court is not to be touched. That's a separate branch of government. Anybody who knows their Constitution, i.e. U.S. citizens first gen, would know that there's a legislative, executive, and judicial. But I don't know anything. I see a chance where we can sit there and take a hammer to a lot of things. He's got 100 days to really start making an effort. And I think that the hand-wringing crying, I love the way Schumer was like, we have to work together. Really? Did we do that for the last 4 years, Chuck? Did we work together? Really?
Right. You got to love that.
And what about Pelosi? I mean, there's somebody there. That snake, Bill, I don't even think that's a snake you would touch, the Pelosi snake, in any way, shape, or form. I mean, come on, be honest with me on that. That lady there, the only thing that terrifies me besides the redhead and the stepkids is Pelosi going, I'm here to help you.
Yeah. See, the thing for me with Pelosi, and Dwayne, I sure appreciate the phone call. The thing with Pelosi for me is I dislike her, but I respect what she's been able to accomplish inside of the House. I dislike Mitch McConnell, but I respect what he's been able to accomplish inside of the Senate. Dislike both of them. I'm not sure I would run across the street if either one of them were on fire, but I will respect what they have been able to accomplish. And Dwayne, give us a call back later in the week. We'll see if we can bend the rule for you, et cetera, because we have a special guest that is joining us on the show right now, and I want to respect their time. But thanks for the call.
Absolutely. Joining us now is the Congressional District 4 member of Congress. He's leading the charge, along with some other members of Congress, to send a letter to the Department of Transportation, the U.S. Department of Transportation, on all the problems we're facing with roads in Colorado. Congressman Greg Lopez, thanks so much for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Bill. Hey, thanks for having me.
So you and Lauren Boebert penned a letter to the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg asking that the agency detail how investigations into state departments of transportation are conducted and what oversight UDOT has. Give us a sense of what you're hoping to achieve.
Well, let me tell you, Jeff, I had some small businesses reach out to me directly. I had a sit-down meeting with them. They shared with me some of the concerns that they have as it pertains to the safety requirements. Some of the designs of these roads, these new construction, the engineers are refusing to sign off on the engineering documents. And, they shared some information that gave me pause for concern as to what's going on with our roads. Why are people dying on these construction sites? So, I took it upon myself to reach out to Lauren, Congressman Lamborn, the chair of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Representative Sam Graves, and of course, the chair of the Budget Committee, to inquire from the Secretary of Transportation as to, we need to know what's going on with the safety issues. We need to know why people are dying on Colorado highways, specifically on the construction sites. And I don't know that we'll get a response, but we're going to keep pushing forward to get more information for all the drivers here in Colorado.
Yeah, I think Pete Buttigieg right now is unfortunately looking for another job. So he's probably hunting for that. But here's some stats that you share. 75% increase in construction zone crashes this year compared to last. And then more importantly, you share stories. 2 women who were stopped by flaggers in a construction zone on Highway 550 in Montrose County were killed after being rear-ended by a speeding vehicle. A newlywed couple and the bride's mother were killed in a crash involving a semi-truck on Interstate 70 in Wheat Ridge. The Wheat Ridge Police Department determined that a crime was not committed. CDOT implemented safety changes in that construction zone following the crash. On September 4th, 2 CDOT maintenance workers and a passenger were killed in a crash on US 6 in Mesa County. September 18th, 3 people were killed on I-70 between Bethune and Burlington when a semi-truck collided with a van after hitting cones and a concrete barrier while merging. We've hosted a number of folks on the show that just talk about the terrible quality that Colorado roads are in. And within CDOT itself, you have whistleblowers that are coming out saying that there's all this DEI efforts, special projects, and that the money is not actually going to improve roads. What are you hearing from constituents, Congressman Greg Lopez?
Listen, I'm hearing the same thing. And you know what? 41 million is what we give to Colorado, the federal government does for their road projects. And so, you know, I want to make sure that that money is going and utilized for safety and meeting our guidelines. Look, all these deaths could have been avoided. All these deaths, I believe the blood is on the hands of not only the director of CDOT, but also indirectly or directly, depending on how you want to look at it, the governor. Look, anytime we have individuals dying on our highways because of construction, it's not necessarily, you know, that the driver is driving recklessly. I think there's more about how do we let people know that there's a construction site coming up? How do we give them enough advance notice? And, you know, my constituents are telling me what they're telling you, Jeff. The roads are terrible here in Colorado, just their conditions. And then add on top of it the construction. And so these are the types of things that we must be very careful as we are providing safety for our drivers on our highways. And so I need to get to the bottom of this. If this is not going to go away, this is an ongoing problem. I have small businesses telling me they do not want to do with CDOT. They're not going to even vote or apply for any contracts because of how they're treated. And that's just wrong.
Talking with Congressman Greg Lopez. He represents Congressional District 4. He was elected in a special election. His term's going to wrap up in January. So I want to pivot a little bit. Congressman Lopez, you got a few months left. Give us a sense of your priorities.
Well, look, I'm still focused very much on the budget, you know, focused on, you know, these zombie programs that we currently are funding, over 1,200 that are expired and no longer authorized by Congress. You know, we still have a continued resolution or omnibus. Who knows what it's going to be when we fund the remaining of 2025 as it pertains to the budget itself. So I'm also looking at the border, you know, the border crisis. I submitted a couple of bills wanting to pursue those, making sure that they continue on to the 119th Congress and making sure that we're providing constituent services. But, you know, you're right. As I make the transition to come back home, like I told everybody, this was a temporary duty assignment, just like you do in the military. It's time for me to come back home and get back involved in what I was doing here in Colorado. But those are the issues that I'm focusing on and helping, of course, to the best of my ability, you know, the incoming congressman, Congressman Jeff Hurd, and Congressman Gabe Evans, and Congressman Jeff Crank, sharing with them my knowledge, sharing them my experiences so they can hit the ground running when they get there.
Greg Lopez, Congressman for District 4, joining Jeff and Bill live. You were just talking a moment ago about some of those zombie programs and funding with the U.S. budget. You've been there for a little bit of time. I want to have your opinion about going into the next session, not talking about what's happening now, but given what you've experienced there, do you have any confidence that the Republican legislators in the House can deliver a budget? They've been unable to in the recent past. Is that something they will finally be able to accomplish in the next session? Your opinion?
I believe they will. Look, let me first clarify the record that over the last 40 years, Congress has only passed 4 budgets. It's been always continued resolutions and omnibus. Even in the 118th Congress, you know, the House passed 5 appropriation bills and the Senate has refused to touch them, refused to move them forward. And that's Chuck Schumer. So I think that if they get started now, which I'm getting assurance from the Speaker of the House and the chair of the Budget Committee that they recognize that there's a mandate, and they, with a focus on spending and so forth, I believe that if they focus, they will be able to do the 12 appropriation bills as outlined in the Budget Act of 1974 and make it to the Senate. I think right now that we have the trifecta, and more importantly, that the president is looking to address the fraud, waste, and abuse of the taxpayers' dollars. I think they will be able to get there. Is it going to be a smooth transition or a smooth voting? Probably not. because you have 200 and some odd Republicans that are really focused on those dollar amounts, and rightfully so. But I think that they will do it. I'm very confident that my colleagues, as they walk in, they're going to focus on that and they're going to get it done.
Oh, I am much more hesitant, and I understand that yes, it's both Democrats and Republicans that don't deliver budgets, and it's a pox on both their houses, in my opinion, because neither side is coming to the table and showing you what you're going to spend. And the reason why I'm hesitant is as soon as you put a budget down, then you can pick apart a budget. If you do an omnibus or a continuing resolution, you can blame the previous administrations and the other people for all the bad spending. And as soon as you put forward an actual budget yourself, you have to defend your ideas and your changes and especially your cuts. And I am less convinced that either party at this point has that wherewithal inside of them. I don't think if the Democrats were in control, I don't think they deliver a budget either.
No, you're absolutely right. Look, one of the biggest challenges that the elected officials have to deal with is when they do introduce a budget, an appropriations bill, they have to do oversight. They have to talk about the programs. They have to talk about the spending. You know, a lot of people are hesitant about, they don't want to be the one that is accused of, stopping funding or eliminating a project or a program. But that's the hard decisions that Congress is sent there to make. Look, we're the keepers of the public purse. We're supposed to make sure that we are financially stable. When you have a $36 trillion national debt that's growing by $1 trillion every 100 days, we have a responsibility and we got to step up to it. Because if we don't, we're going to find ourselves in dire straits. Just on the unfunded mandates, there's another $120 trillion that are out there. So I truly believe, in talking to my colleagues and being on the House floor, that this is going to be an issue that they're going to address. And there's going to be some that people are going to have to convince that, look, you got to step forward. You got to let people know where you think about this. Is it going to be easy? Of course it's not. But we're going to find out very quickly how strong and courageous this next congressional Congress is going to be as it pertains to the 119th. I'm hopeful.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, talking to Congressman Greg Lopez, Congressional District 4, we know your time is very limited. I got two quick questions. You mentioned to President Donald Trump that he has to have a Hispanic on his cabinet. That's very important. Why is that?
Look, I think, again, right, we need to make sure that we reflect the public and we reflect the tapestry of America. When you look at the Hispanic community has always been very polite, very cordial, but they're growing in influence in the economy. They're growing in influence in the political power. The fact that he nominated Marco Rubio, I think that's a strong sign that he's sending to the Hispanic community. I know you're out there. I care about you. I want to have someone like that. I believe, and I'm encouraging him to do another appointee and do a Hispanic woman to bring on to the cabinet, because it's important for him to recognize that, and he knows it, but, we need to have people around him to feel like, we need to reach out into all communities, and the Hispanic community is conservative. They're strong in their faith, they're strong in family, and they're strong in work ethics. That's what makes America the country that everybody wants to come to.
Help me understand how that's not a DEI pick. I understand that you want to reflect their values, but don't we want to pick people based upon their merit?
Well, of course we do, but don't try to tell me that there's not Hispanics out there that can make the merit. Look, and that's really what I'm saying. There are good individuals, and I can tell you, Jeff, that, being inside the federal government, being the head of SBA, too many times people just believe because someone is not of a certain breed or ethnic background that they don't qualify. I think this forces people to look at the right qualifications and look at the people. By all means, we do not want to put anybody in any position that's not qualified, ever. That's not what America's about. And I would scream and holler if I felt they're nominating people that don't qualify to do the job, because we need to have good people there. But there are good people in all races and all ethnic backgrounds. We just got to make sure that we find them, because they're out there.
Talking with Greg Lopez, Congressman, Congressional District 4. Final question for you. You want to make any announcements? Are you going to be joining the administration now that your time in Congress is wrapping up?
Jeff, no announcement at this time. I'm at the airport, hearing banging on their construction. But look, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to see where the Lord takes me. But know this, I'm focused on the last couple of days, couple of weeks, all the way up till December 31st. There are some discussions that are happening, but for now, I'm focused on going down there, going back to DC, representing the good people of CD4, championing everything that we stand for in rural Colorado and the Farm Bill to make sure that we have a great opportunity to make Colorado a great state once again.
Congressman Greg Lopez from Congressional District 4 leading the effort to challenge the U.S. Department of Transportation to look into a record number of crashes taking place in construction zones here in Colorado, calling to task the Colorado Department of Transportation and the leadership of the U.S. Department of Transportation under Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Congressman Lopez, thank you so much for your work for the people of Congressional District 4 and taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, it's my pleasure, guys. You guys take care.
Hey, have a great day.
Congressman Greg Lopez.
That is so cool to talk to Congressman Lopez. And I want to take things in a different direction. You understand that idea of getting through construction and traffic. And it seems like here in Colorado, we've got basically 3 seasons. We have winter, spring, and construction. And you hit construction and it causes all sorts of pain and stress and problems in your life, just like some of those things physically that you're dealing with. I want to talk to you for a minute here about my friends at Balance Well Space. Remember when you were a kid and you were running around just at 10 all the time and mom and dad are like, no, it's time for a nap. Let's lay down for a nap. And you just sit in your bed and you're like, there's no way I can even sleep right now. There's so many things I have to do. Do you understand the dinosaurs I need to play with right now? Do you understand the Lego things I have to build right now? All that stuff is running through your head because when you're young, you're all full of hormones. Yeah. As in the teenage you, remember that one. Yeah, all those hormones running wild. Now, when you're our age, those hormones are kind of taking a back seat. Your body's not producing them at the same rate. And that can lead to fatigue, lack of sleep, lack of libido, change in mood. Some of the reason that you're feeling kind of grouchy or down sometimes, it's not because it's actually you or it's your body. Your body's not giving you the building blocks that you need in order to feel your best. Balance Well Space has a wonderful solution. Non-invasive, it's bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Sounds really weird. All it is it's just an IV that puts the identical same hormones your body is not producing at the same levels when you're a teenager in again. It's just replenishing the bank. That's all you're doing. You've taken money out of your bank account. You're putting the hormones back into the bank account in your body. They have a free seminar coming up that they can explain all of this to you. It's your chance to walk around the facility at Balance Well Space and to talk to all the medical professionals there and take a peek at all the things they can offer. Make your reservation today, balancewellspace.com, December 3rd, 5 p.m. Complimentary wine and cheese. All the experts are going to be on hand to answer your questions. They're going to talk to you about hormone replacement. I've undergone it a couple of times, especially when I was feeling just dragging one day. Sarah came over and she goes, I've got something for you that can really help. It changed. I thought I wanted to sleep about 4 hours the rest of the day. I was going bonkers for the next couple of days. I felt like I was in my teens and 20s again. In addition, you'll be able to talk to Balance Well Space about integrative medicine. That means they offer a whole bunch of things under one roof: chiropractic care. They offer neuropathy, physical rehabilitation, wave therapy, regenerative care, trigger point injections. You can take a look at the facility, talk to the people that are going to be working on you, and see if you're comfortable with them. It's a great way to kind of kick the tires. Check them out, balancewellspace.com, balancewellspace.com. Space is limited, so do reach out to them and make sure to reserve your space, your chair, the night they're going to be talking to you and your wine and cheese and crackers. December 3rd, 5 p.m. in the evening, balancewellspace.com. They're located in Lowry, brand new offices right across from Hangar 2. Plenty of parking, so you don't have to worry about it. And it's really easy to get in and out. It's right off of Alameda Road, right there in Lowry. So super easy to find on Tuesday, December 5th. Give them a call. Tell them you heard about them here on Jeff and Bill. Reserve your space for the Hormone Therapy Open House, December 5th, 5 p.m. Balancewellspace.com. And tell them you heard about them here on Jeff and Bill.
Great to hear you're getting that care, Bill. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971. You can continue to debate whether or not the Democrats are the Imperial Stormtroopers. I actually had to write that down because I have never watched those movies. Dude, I tried to. They're so boring.
They are not.
They're so boring. And I can't get into... I can't even get through the Lord of the Rings trilogies.
You disappoint me.
I'm not one of those fantasy guys.
Levels,
I do want to play this, though.
Yeah.
About this conversation that Peter Thiel had with Barry Weiss, who runs the Free Press. Peter Thiel being the first real tech giant to support Donald Trump back in 2016.
And Hulk Hogan, porno enthusiast. Just saying.
What's that? Who's the what?
Hulk Hogan porno enthusiast.
What about
Peter Thiel's the guy that funded Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against Gawker?
Oh yeah, the
porno
lawsuit.
thing, yeah, for the porno thing in order to bring down Gawker. So again,
yes,
around the barn there, around the barn. Just kind of I'm sorry, my brain works in weird ways.
I went, what?
I know, and that is the look that I got from Jeff. Is the look that I get from my kids on a regular basis. They look at me like, "What is wrong with you?"
Talking about here's
I got that look this weekend.
Here's Thiel talking about Elon Musk's courage.
Obviously, Elon gave people a great deal of cover. It certainly seemed incredibly dangerous to me what he did, incredibly courageous. What would have happened to him if Trump would have lost, and then certainly it was, well, maybe all of the rest of us can be a little bit more courageous than we otherwise were going to be, but he gave cover to everybody.
So did Elon Musk? So I want to talk about the tech guys. Peter Thiel gets in early 2016, speaks at the RNC, and then you have this seismic shift. And he lists a number of names there, but the tech industry seems to be kind of frustrated with the Democrats. And what's shocking to me is if you actually did a deep dive on Kamala Harris, which I did, she's like a tech sister.
Yep.
I mean, big time, like no restrictions on Google. We're not going to allow the federal government to come in. She came from the tech world in San Francisco.
Yeah, she has family members in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not all supporting Kamala Harris during this last election.
No, not at all. Which means and again, I have a theory behind that. It's has more to do about their personal bank account than the bank account of their businesses. In my opinion, I think that's where the choice was made.
I wonder too if they're just tired of dealing with all of the woke mind think. I mean, I go back to Peter Thiel and this idea of an intellectual straitjacket. These are people by nature that are breakers. They break the institutions, they break the systems, they create Uber and X and Airbnb and Facebook and Google and all that. And I don't think they like the world as it was becoming under progressive leadership.
The weird part that I have with that, if that's true, then someone needs to explain to me why the choice was the guy that said that NBC should lose its broadcasting license because he didn't like how his opponent's interview was edited. Why is that the tack towards more freedom? Why is the idea of more freedom and to not have this burden from government regulations on businesses and on tech when Donald Trump just in the last 48 hours called for an investigation in the Iowa pollster who got it wrong and has since retired. She retired.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's gone.
Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is I went and I listened to interviews of her before and afterwards. And guess what? Beforehand, she said, if I get to a point where I'm getting it wrong, I'm going to step away.
Yeah.
She didn't say if I get it wrong here. She just said if my methods don't produce the right answers, I'm happy to walk away. And she did exactly what she said she was going to do. But Donald Trump wants her investigated. So someone
does he want her investigated? I don't remember saying that.
No,
wants her investigated.
He said it in the last 48 hours. He has called for an investigation into her for what is it? His favorite thing. It's election interference. But yes, he's called for an investigation into her. So I'm hoping that someone, 696-1971, it won't go anywhere at all.
Right.
But 696-1971, is Peter Thiel right? That it is the Republicans that are going to take away all of the restrictions on free speech and on the tech industry? Or is it just a different set of rules and regulations? Mm-hmm. Are the Republicans going to come in and tell you who can talk and when and why? Because what I see from Donald Trump is a whole lot of bitching and complaining about what people say and going after free speech. I believe he has 3 multi-billion-dollar lawsuits right now against media companies, all because of what they said. I find it hard that he is the vanguard of free speech.
Yeah, I could understand the critique if it wasn't coming from the same side that went after anybody who spoke against the traditional narratives on social media about COVID, about the elections, and about all the restrictions that they put on people. So, I don't see that they're the ones that are diving into promoting free speech. Let's go to Greg Arvada. Good morning, Greg. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Good morning. So I believe, and I believe this is correct, but I could be wrong, but I believe the Iowa pollster has a history of partisanship, was producing polls for the, I believe, the Des Moines Register, and she was wrong by 15 points.
11.
Her poll.
She was wrong by 11.
By 11? I thought it was even further than that, but that's a really, really, really long way to be off on a poll with a margin of error of 3 to 4%. So is it fair to investigate? Hey, was there an attempt to influence the outcome of the election? That's a fair question to ask in this circumstance, but that doesn't have to be a crucifixion. It's what were your methods? How did you reach that conclusion? Did you use illegal methods that would trying to influence an election? So there should be consequences.
Now, Greg, help me understand this. Why is part of your conclusion that she was trying to interfere in the election?
Because her history of partisanship.
But I disagree. She doesn't have a history of partisanship. In fact, she has a history of being right.
Absolutely, she does.
She has a history of being right. That's what she has a history of.
I don't know about being right.
Greg,
I went through her polls. There was a lot of ones that she lost.
Editorial pages of that magazine. So to claim that she doesn't have a history of partisanship is blind.
Greg, with respect,
your political opinions and then say, "Oh, I don't have a political opinion."
No,
so
Greg, hang on a sec.
Fair things.
Greg, hold on. She can have a political opinion. I would assume everybody has a political opinion, but people also have the ability to remove that from the decision-making process that they have. There's no proof that she didn't do that. Now, Greg, what we do know is prior to Trump's first win, she was the one poll that dropped the Saturday before the election that saw a huge groundswell in favor of Trump. We also know in the previous election in 2020, she was also the poll that dropped the Saturday before the election that showed a large erosion in support of Biden.
You're coming with the attitude that I'm calling for her conviction. I'm not. I'm saying these are legitimate questions to ask.
No.
And if a superficial investigation is done, it's like, no, her methods were correct and she just did a really bad job. Fine, move on.
I don't know. I don't understand why she has to be investigated. Who cares if they put out partisan polls? Greg, I appreciate the call.
She's published her methodology. She published all her numbers and she published her methodology. So
partisan polls are not illegal. It's not illegal to have a partisan poll. I just think polling's done. What you're going to see done moving forward is computers and AI analyzing sentiment online to determine who might be winning or losing.
All right, there.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill. Billy, I was up on the roof.
Oh, you were. Hey.
You don't do that?
No, I fall off the roof. I've done that. I have fallen off the roof. After that, I don't get up on the roof anymore. No.
Was it bad?
Yeah. That's a story for another day, but I have a thing where I don't do things little. When I fall, when I do things like it is spectacular. It is a spectacular chaos. Let's just say that I managed to fall off of our roof and then at the same time crash through the sliding glass door and land in our kitchen. But that's a story for another day, my friend. We'll explain that another day. That's how I do things. That's how I do things. I don't come small. I go big. I go big every time.
You need to have a quality roof. And when you're up on your roof, you definitely see how good or bad it needs to be. But if you need some roof work done, you got to talk to our friends over at Colorado's Best Roofing. Hail, snow, heavy winds, we got it in Colorado. That's why you need a roofing company you can trust, and that's Colorado's Best Roofing. They're local, family-owned, and have served the Denver area for over 12 years. They understand our unique climate and how to build a roof that lasts. Whether you need a repair after a storm or a whole new roof, Colorado's Best Roofing has got you covered. And here's what I really love. They offer a free no obligation inspection. They'll come out, take a look, give you an honest assessment. No pressure, no gimmicks, just straight talk from the pros. Plus, they work with your insurance company to make sure you get the coverage you deserve. So don't wait until the next big storm hits. Give Colorado's Best Roofing a call today at 303-797-7663 or visit them at roofingcolorado.com, 303-797-7663 or roofingcolorado.com. Trust the best. Colorado's Best Roofing. Let's go to Jay, Denver. Good morning, Jay. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Hey, good morning. Great show. You were mentioning Peter Thiel and the fact that I believe he said that the internet should have some safeguards on it. Is that right?
I don't know if that's
he's talking. This is the problem: is that Thiel believes there should be some safeguards, but he only wants the safeguards he believes in. He's unhappy with some of the government safeguards. So as long as you give him his safeguards, which would be making sure you constrain his competition, he's happy with that.
Oh, okay. So what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Have you met him? Yes. Haven't you known these billionaires are like? Yes, absolutely. I have all my money. You cannot have any of my money. Yes.
Okay. So real quick, Jeff, we spoke a few weeks back about West Middle School, and I don't need to know exactly, but did you go there after 1997 or before?
Before.
Okay. Before. So before you had wood shops, metal shops, and all kinds of cool stuff. And okay, good. Well, then all of a sudden the school district, and we worked directly with them and many others, at that time the internet and everything else was becoming huge. So we were pouring technology into schools, high-speed internet, cable. Okay, now let's talk about cable, forget the internet. So my job, and everybody else smart, supposedly, we thought we were smart, I mean, stupider by the day, is to keep that technology in there and have it be used. But the librarians and the school people and all of those folks had never had cable. They didn't know what MTV was. They didn't know what all of the crazy things that were going on television. So technological people, we kept it out. There was a big fight. 64 schools, and we had actually 4 under construction, Grandview and so on, to keep all of those crazy channels out of the hands of kids like you, Jeff, Billy, and myself, when we were kids, so that you could put MTV on to the whole school, or worse, HBO. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh! And I remember they had this like MTV One or something like that. But no, Jay, great call. We're just up against a break here, real quick. I really appreciate it. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, Rose Puglisi is going to join us, House Minority Leader, on the big wins to the point where Democrats in Colorado no longer have a supermajority in the Colorado House of Representatives. Does she give any credit to Dave Williams? We'll ask her. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 9 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations, you're waking up in the greatest country in history, and we're off and running. We got a whole nother hour planned for you. There's a lot of news that happened over the weekend. We're going to make sure we cover it so that you go into this week ready and prepared. Most engaging discussions, critical analysis. Most importantly, your calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver, and let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up after news and comment with Blake Olson, Rose Puglisi is going to join us. She's the House Minority Leader. Madam House Minority Leader, 3 big victories coming in to the point where Colorado House Democrats no longer have a supermajority in the Colorado House. We are slowly chipping away from the crazy that has controlled this state. We're going to ask her how it happened, what she's looking forward to in the new legislative session, and did the state party, can they claim any part of the victory? I've seen a lot of groups claim victory. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, State Party. What really sealed the deal? Because whatever it was that helped these 3 win back control from Democrats into Republican hands, those particular seats, I'd like to know so we can do more of it. So we'll talk to Rose here in just a second. But first, news and comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Billy. 29 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 55 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
We need to know what's going on with the safety issues. We need to know why people are dying on Colorado highways, specifically on the construction sites. I don't know that we'll get a response, but we're going to keep pushing forward to get more information for all the drivers here in Colorado.
Congressman Greg Lopez joining Jeff and Billy last hour. He and Lauren Boebert are teaming up, trying to help make Colorado roads safer, especially around construction zones. Time for taxpayers to get what they deserve on the roads. Don't expect Pete Buttigieg to listen.
You know, I want to make sure that that money is going and utilized for safety and meeting our guidelines. Look, all these deaths could have been avoided. All these deaths, I believe the blood is on the hands of not only the director of CDOT, but also indirectly or directly, depending on how you want to look at it, the governor.
Ukraine is reportedly getting the okay from President Biden to use U.S.-made long-range missiles to strike Russia. There are reports Ukraine plans to launch strikes in the coming days. In September, Vladimir Putin said if Ukraine uses U.S.-made missiles on Russia, the U.S. is at war with his country.
Воюют с Россией. А если это так, то, имея в виду изменение самой сути этого конфликта.
That was Putin. And this is DJT when Zelensky was here a few months ago.
Too many people dead. Too many beautiful cities. I've seen those cities are so beautiful, and that, you know, I don't know how you can ever rebuild them the way they were. It's not possible.
You have to come, by the way, to see us.
I will. It's a beautiful country, beautiful weather, beautiful everything, but we have to get this over with. But it's a war, and the president agrees this is a war that should have never happened.
And DJT nominating founder and CEO of Denver-based fossil fuel company Liberty Energy, Chris Wright, as Secretary of Energy.
When you hear crazy stuff today, check it out, dig a little deeper. Hurricanes are not growing. That's in the IPCC report. Tornadoes are actually on the decline. Floods, droughts, all of these things you hear ceaselessly, they just simply aren't so. It isn't even controversial that they're not so, but media, politicians just continually abuse these facts.
And President Biden, who pushes this junk, is in Brazil for the start of the G20 summit today. DJT's pick as AG may or may not be confirmed, but this is one of the reasons people love Matt Gaetz, going after FBI Director Christopher Wray, protecting the Bidens.
I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
You won't answer the
protecting
question
anyone
about whether or not
politically.
that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Ding, 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 ding. UFC over the weekend. John Jones dominating again. The post-fight was awesome.
How do you feel right now? You know what? While I got the moment, while everybody's cheering and so happy, I want to acknowledge Jesus Christ. I tell you what, man. I cannot take credit for a gift like this, man. I really owe it all to him. And I know that there's millions of people around the world watching right now. And I just want to let you guys know that Jesus loves you so much. That's all I'll say about that. I also want to say a big, big thank you to President Donald Trump for being here tonight. Can I get a Hey, what do you guys think about my version of the Donald Trump? Check it out. USA! USA! Let's go!
Hey, I don't watch UFC, but I will when he's fighting. No question. Hey, the Broncos on Sunday with a victory.
Nick's on the roll and a dart to the 30-yard line. Courtland Sutton on the run. Or rather, down the sideline, little Jordan Humphrey. Humphrey with the touchdown, 41 yards and a score.
38-6 over the Falcons. Bo Nix threw for over 300 yards and 4 TDs.
Those games are a lot of fun. They're, what you work for. They're why you play the game, for experiences like that. All the receivers, tight ends, they just made plays when their number was called. I think there's no telling how many guys caught a pass today.
And the Chiefs lose their first game of the season to the Bills in Buffalo.
8 at the 34. Sanders guns it. Sanders in a pocket. Oh, what a catch. Travis Hunter. Give him the Heisman now.
See Buffs rolling again with the big 49-24 victory on Saturday.
Hey,
yes, sir.
Did you check Von Miller's socials after the Bills beat the
No,
Chiefs yesterday?
I did not. Maybe I'll go check them.
The nice part about it, they do the highlights, and he got a couple of sacks. I think a couple of sacks on Mahomes. But the best thing is, Vaughn still loves, our Mile High City. On social media. He shouted at Denver. He goes, "Broncos country, I got you." I'm like, nice. That was
great,
nice. That was
man.
really nice.
That's
That is really
pretty cool.
Yeah, because too often, and the thing that I enjoy about it the most is too often players have a lot of animosity towards the city after they leave, and there's almost this idea. And I really appreciate it when it can be this mutually beneficial relationship. And nobody in Broncos country wanted Vaughn to go, but he had to based on contract, age, and a number of other things going on at the team. It stinks. It sucks. Seems to be my favorite word this morning. Sucks. But he had to go. And it's great that he can find success with another team. We can't be mad at him about it. It's great that he still respects Bronco country. So it's kind of nice, man.
Yeah,
it's kind of
that's
nice.
cool.
That is cool. That is cool.
That's good. Good poll by him.
Yeah.
Check that out. 26 in Lafayette, 28 in Aurora, 29 in Denver. That made me happy, Billy. Despite what some people think about me.
I'm glad I could make somebody happy.
Could he kick the crap out of both of you? Because he sounds really cranky. And today would be a good day for him to kick the crap out of Billy up.
Sorry, Bill. Barney says I'm cranky.
And he wants you to beat me up. So
he wants me to beat
today.
you up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So everything sucks to you, and I'm cranky. Jeff's the only
up.
nice guy.
He is. But that's really what the show's
the
all
Ned
about.
Flanders of the show.
That's right.
That is so
I
perfect.
love it. I love it.
Oh,
All
man,
right,
that
you
makes me
guys have a
homer.
good
Oh,
day.
great.
Thank you very much. Blake Olson,
soul
News Talk. 710 KNUS.
Bigger than both you guys. Could he kick the crap out of both of you? Because he sounds really cranky. And today would be a good day for him to kick the crap out of Billy up.
Sunny. Temperatures will be in the 50s today, with northwest breezes picking up a little bit this afternoon as a cold front approaches. Lows tonight will be chilly in the mid-20s with gusty northwest winds. On Tuesday, temperatures only in the upper 30s to near 40, slight chance of a snow shower, and windy. Quite cold, teens and 20s Tuesday night, highs back to near 50 Wednesday. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free, no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. So, in Colorado has down just a little bit, thankfully, because Republicans got a hold of 3 critical seats, which means that there's no longer a supermajority in the Colorado House of Representatives. And you can assign a lot of that success to Rose Puglisi and her leadership. She's the House Minority Leader. I mean, she's the top Republican in the Colorado State House, and she was out there shaking trees to get donations. She was walking and knocking doors. She was organizing her team to help win, and she joins us now. Congratulations, House Minority Leader, on a big victory, taking away the supermajority from the Democrats in the Colorado House of Representatives.
Thank you so much, Jeff. We are so excited for these wins. It really is going to be a game changer in Colorado.
So introduce us first to who won and who's going to be taking some new seats here in the Colorado House of Representatives.
So the three targeted seats that we needed to end the supermajority is Ryan Gonzalez up in Greeley, Dan Woog up in northern Colorado, and then Rebecca Kelty in Colorado Springs. And her district abuts my district. So I'm incredibly excited to have her in the legislature.
And who will not be returning to the Colorado House of Representatives? Which Democrats are looking for a new job today?
So in those three targeted seats, Mary Young had that Greeley seat. The Dan Woog seat was interesting. Jennifer Parenti had beat him the last cycle, and then she wound up not running again. And so the Democrats kind of scurried to put somebody in that seat, but not someone that had served before. And then Stephanie Vigil was in Colorado Springs.
Oh, this is the biggest question I wanted to ask you. Okay. You were on the ground. You saw what worked. Because I know donors out there, activists are desperate to get Colorado off the crazy train. What worked? What resulted in victories in these three key House districts?
So I want to start by saying, and I've said this before to you all, and we'll continue to say it, when conservatives unite, we win every time. So we need to really focus on unity as we go into 2026, because we can't sit on our laurels and say, okay, we won, now let's pack up and go home for 2 years. We have to continue down the path that we are on, which is to continue to be victorious and bring back seats in Colorado. I think, I only took over as minority leader at the end of January. So I've been in this position about 9 months. And I think for me, the struggle was convincing donors, especially, that the House was worth investing in. And I really am so grateful to the donors that had faith in me and my leadership and our caucus and their leadership. And so I think it took a little bit to get people on board, but once they were there the whole way. And I am incredibly grateful. But I also think we had grassroots organizations on the ground. Every single person that participated knocked doors. And we had candidates that worked so hard. All of our candidates, even in the seats we didn't win, worked incredibly hard to get our message out. And so I think we do have the right message. If you saw how Democrats ran this cycle, they sounded like Republicans. And so our messages are right. And I think our messengers were right. I think we still have a lot of work to do, though, to convince the people that the Republicans should be the ones governing. But I think we have an opportunity to bring it back.
So there's the old quote, by the way, we're talking to Rose Puglisi. She's the House Minority Leader. There's a famous quote, right? Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. After the successful taking of the supermajority from the Democrats down at the state house, I saw a lot of emails claiming victory. RMGO was one of those. The state party was one of those. From your perspective, where does the credit go?
I think the credit goes to everybody. Any person that helped us knock doors, make phone calls, donated to our candidates, every single one of those people deserve the win. I appreciate, being the minority leader and the steps I had to take in order to make these wins happen as well. And I do want to give a lot of great credit in Northern Colorado to Senator Barbara Kirkmeyer, who was determined to turn Weld red and flip those two seats from blue to red. I mean, that Greeley seat has been blue for a very long time. And so she gets a ton of credit. But I don't like to play those games. I think we all need to be united. We all need to celebrate the success and then continue to take that success as we work towards 2026.
And I appreciate that. I think that's actually a very strong skill set that you have. Because we all remember the divisions within the state house where Republicans were fighting among each other. It seemed like constantly. You have built together a great coalition that is united, and that is a testimony to your character. There is still this ongoing civil war within the Republican Party. So I know the state party took some leadership or took some credit for the wins in these particular districts, and you're willing to give them some credit for the wins that you were able to take.
I will give anyone credit that helped us participate. And so, again, our grassroots is really our donors, our grassroots activists, all those people that spent their Saturdays knocking doors. I mean, Jeff Crank did a great job with Michael Allen, our DA, down in El Paso. I mean, everybody came together. And again, when conservatives unite, we win. So we just need to continue to do that. And I just want to remind people, if I can just take a moment of personal liberty, as you talk about our leadership, I firmly believe that God put all of us, now the 22 of us, together for a reason. And it's not because we all legislate exactly the same. It's because we all bring our talents to the table. And so as long as we continue to recognize and appreciate that we're all different in this caucus, we all have different constituencies, and we all represent in different ways, I think we will continue to be leaders in the state amongst conservatives.
Talking with Rose Puglisi, she's the House Minority Leader. Now, last week we hosted RMGO on the show, and they were talking and highlighting some conversations already happening out there where Democrats want to create a gun registry, for instance, possibly even track the total number of guns you're purchasing. So things are looking bad down at the state capitol. Can you give us some insight on things you might be hearing and battles you're preparing for at this upcoming legislative session, which will begin in January?
So I think the big battle for us next, from a leadership perspective, is policy for sure. I mean, I think, we've seen the Democrats moderate during their primaries. We've seen now that we were able to pull back 3 seats from them. So I think you're going to see a different legislature than you did at least the last 2 years, which I think is good. But where I think we have to make the argument is that, committees have been primarily stacked with mostly Democrats and very few Republicans. Traditionally, historically, those numbers have been closer when we had more people. And now that we've accomplished that, I do hope the majority will work with us to even out committees a bit more, because I think that's where those good conversations happen. And, hopefully we'll have the opportunity to kill bad bills in committee as opposed to the floor. And that'll be that'll change the way that we legislate. So I think that that's really important. Affordability is still a place where we have seen the people of Colorado say, hey, enough, we can't afford anymore. We saw that nationally as well. And so I think being able to continue to fight for affordability in Colorado is definitely a unifying issue amongst Republicans, and one that you'll see a lot of legislation around.
Rose Puglisi, Colorado House Minority Leader, joining Jeff and Bill live. The GOP is no longer in the super minority in our Colorado House, but you don't necessarily have the leverage to drive the agenda. So I want to kind of dovetail off of what you were just saying there, Rose. What legislative goals do you feel the GOP is going to be bringing into the next session? Understanding you don't have the stroke in order to get things across the line, but it is not going to work with the voters if you're just the party of no. You've got to have ideas. What are some of those legislative goals that you think you might be able to get the Democrats to go along with, or even might be considering just statement legislation, saying, we would like to make this happen, but these nasty guys on gals on the other side of the aisle are preventing us from doing it? What are the goals?
So I think protecting Tabor continues, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights continues to be a priority for our caucus. And for the people of Colorado, they love Tabor. And so I think protecting Tabor, we're going to have an incredible opportunity. Besides the change in composition at the legislature, the fact that there is no money for the Democrats who are in the majority, I think, I hope my goal, and I know the goal of our caucus, is to continue to bring forward policies that kind of really focus on the proper role of government. Colorado does not have a revenue issue. It has a prioritization issue. And so this might be a great opportunity for Republicans and Democrats to come together and really look at the budget. And, we've got great leadership from Senator Kirkmeyer and Representative Taggart from Grand Junction, who sit on the JBC, the Joint Budget Committee, and deal with the budget. But I think that this is going to be an opportunity for us to really look at the places the government should not be spending money and look at maybe reallocating that towards the proper role of government. So I know I'm a policy geek, but I'm personally excited about some of those budget conversations, those tough conversations that even Democrats will have to have this session.
Talking with Rose Puglisi, she's the House Minority Leader. That means she's the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives. All right, so we know Donald Trump is coming with an aggressive agenda. We also know that Jared Polis and those are creating the entities to be able to stop Donald Trump's agenda. Are you talking with your Republican colleagues? What are you expecting those battles to look like on mass deportations and some of the other fracking, energy, all those other areas that you're going to watch Colorado Democrats and President Trump butt heads? And how do you support President Trump's agenda?
So we haven't had that conversation yet as a caucus. I will say on the energy front, I cannot be more excited that Chris Wright is up for energy secretary. I think that is going to be amazing for both Colorado and our nation. I think that really President Trump has a mandate from the people, whether Democrats want to acknowledge that mandate or not. And it really centers around affordability, which is where our caucus is focused. And I think being able to continue to have those conversations, making sure that funding in Colorado goes to the people who are residents of Colorado who live here, I think is incredibly important. And so I think we're going to have some tough but good conversations, but the people have spoken. And I think as Republicans, we need to continue to support an agenda that really brings affordability to Colorado and prioritizes Coloradans.
Rose Puglisi, House Minority Leader, with a big victory this past week, wrestling 3 seats from the Democrats, and in doing so, taking away the supermajority from the Democrats down at the Colorado House of Representatives. We're looking forward to the Mighty 19 becoming the Mighty 22 and the efforts they're going to have down there. You've got some great people, Scott Bottoms, Brandy Bradley. Richard Holtorf's no longer there, right? He's out. Yeah, you've got Andy Hartsook. Great lineup of folks down there to fight for conservative values. So we know you'll pull them together and unleash them against the radical progressives down there. Anybody you want to highlight for us that we should be looking for this upcoming legislative session?
You just highlighted a large amount of people in my caucus have actually changed over. The great Gabe Evans is now a congressman for CD8, which I'm so excited about. But we've got some new members that are coming in that are replacing some of our former members that are really just exciting, bring really great, strong ideas. I don't want to highlight every single one of them unless you've got the time for it. But we've got a great crew of people coming in with good experiences that really are going to be leaders within our caucus. And I'm so excited about this caucus moving forward.
Well, we appreciate your time today. Again, Rose Puglisi, House Minority Leader. This session begins in January. The battles will begin down there. We'll be covering it all here on 710 KNUS. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Madam House Minority Leader. All right. Appreciate it. Look, I want to talk to you about my good friends, Dr. Mike and Rocky Mountain Dental Group. Look, I've had a lot of dental work done. It's like the Lord was just like, you're going to deal with a lot of human suffering. Well, you spend time and time again in the dentist's office. It has nothing to do with how I care for my teeth. I'm a clean freak when it comes for caring for my teeth. Just not something I inherited from my family all that well. So believe me, when I talk about good dentists, I know what I'm talking about. Dr. Mike is the best. Rocky Mountain Dental Group. He helps people like you and me look and feel amazing by providing the best dental care available. See for yourself all the 5-star reviews at RockyMountainDentalGroup.com. Here's one. Every single person in this office is delightful. Their knowledge and consultative approach to dental care is fantastic. we highly recommend to everyone I know. Look, if your gums are receding, it's critical to address this issue promptly. Dr. Mike is a top-tier expert in the Chow pinhole surgical technique. This method requires no cutting, no sutures, and virtually no downtime. The pinhole surgery is so painless that many clients go on to have other areas of their mouth treated as well. They also offer sedation if you have any apprehension at all. You can take the afternoon off and get all your teeth work done. Schedule a free consultation with Dr. Mike and call 303-233-1335 or visit RockyMountainDentalGroup.com. RockyMountainDentalGroup.com to book your free consultation today. So here's the question I have for the great listeners of the Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS. Do you give credit to the state party for these victories?
Ooh. In fact, here's the idea. I think you should go one further.
Yes, please.
And I think the question isn't, do you give credit to the state party? It would be, have those in charge of the state party prove to you they're enough of a group of winners that they deserve another term. Do you reelect them?
$1 million question.
That's
Bill.
the question. That's the big question.
Yeah.
Do you, if we held the vote today, do you vote to reelect them? That's what I want to know.
Going back to our original conversation about all this, and why I ticked off some people within the Republican Party is because I said Dave Williams was duly elected. Dave Williams should finish his term.
Yeah.
Dave Williams should be judged as you judge a head coach. Even Mike Rosen didn't like that.
No, he didn't. That's another story.
And part of that is because I worked for the state party, and one of the most annoying things I had to deal with was people constantly challenging the state party.
Yeah.
From our side.
Yep.
Going, go out there and stop the Democrats. Seriously, just take the time between now. We can have this conversation in January or February, whenever that happens. But I saw it up close and personal. And you may not like the guy I worked for, but I worked for Ryan Call, and that we won in 2014. We had great victories in 2014, but it drove me nuts. Then in the midst of the most heated battles, the guys that should be in the trenches with you were going, I don't like this guy. I don't trust him, all that stuff. And you're just like, come on.
Yeah,
we'll have this conversation. We're literally running on the field to win a football game right now.
This firearm doesn't match my boots. I need a different one. Yeah, those type of complaints. Yes, it's not the right. It's too moist. I don't want to crawl into the foxhole. Do you understand what it'll do to my skin? Yeah, I get it.
It's like
we're going to work. People.
Running out onto the field, going, well, I don't know if I like my quarterback. It doesn't matter. We're on the field. We'll have this conversation after the game is done.
Been there, done that. Played with a number of goalkeepers I didn't trust as far as I could throw them. Yeah, but you get on the field to do what you can to defend them. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't mind if you want to critique Dave Williams now. Analyze him. All right. Does Dave and the leadership of the Colorado Republican Party deserve a second term after this election? Or are they just doing that old victory has 1,000 fathers, defeat is an orphan type of thing?
Yeah. Was enough. Could you get to a point where, yes, there were some good things, but we won? And this is not fair, and I'm not doing this on purpose, personally, but were the wins achieved despite of the weaknesses of the leadership of the Colorado Republican Party? Is it despite what Dave Williams created and the chaos that he created, that they won in spite of that, or did they win in part because of that? I'm not taking a position either way.
Right.
I just want to know.
We want to hear from our listeners. 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line 720-819-5115. I'll tell you this, who deserves credit? Absolutely, is Rose Puglisi.
Absolutely.
100% deserves credit for that. She's if you remember just how big the animosity bridge was between Republicans down at the state house 5-6 years ago.
Yep.
And where it is now.
Yeah,
that's
totally different.
That's
It is totally different. Yeah.
All right. Did you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you don't even, or when you do the most routine physical activities like shoveling snow? Have they told you it's time for a knee or hip replacement? I was just talking to my family member who had a knee replaced over the summer. It was $90,000, $90,000 with insurance, of course, but the total bill, $90,000 for a knee replacement. So if you're facing that, stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds. at QC Kinetics, they can get you there. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative cellular treatments for joint pain. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your body's own healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritic pain. Everybody's talking about this now, and it's so cutting edge. The protocol developed by QC Kinetics are life-changing for so many people. Tens of thousands of satisfied patients with more every day. Yes, you can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. All you got to do is make this phone call. Start talking with them about it. 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986 with locations in Aurora, Superior, Highlands Ranch, and Colorado Springs. We'll get to your phone calls and text. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from the Butchery Restaurant in Arvada. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Boy, we kicked off some text messages on this one. We asked Rose Puglisi in light of 3 state House members flipping those seats and now Republicans having control and the House no longer being controlled by Democrats in a supermajority. Democrats still have total control. They're going to do whatever they want. They just don't have the supermajority. And this is part of the effort of Republicans to chip away the crazy that's taking place down at the state capitol. So I asked her, does she give the state party any credit? Because there's a lot of debate. I saw a lot of emails, a lot of people claiming credit. RMGO, state party, House Republican caucus down there. So who actually was the result of it? And she was very diplomatic, saying anybody that did anything, I'm willing to give credit to. So we asked you, do you give the state party any credit? And more importantly, Dave Williams and the current leadership of the state party continue in light of some of these victories. Here's one text message, 0556. The state party was useless. Wins came because of Trump. People's dissatisfaction with liberal policies, good candidates, and hard work by ordinary people. By the way, I love Rose and have since she first ran for school board director position in Mesa County. I think Republicans, this is Karen from Edgewater, I think Republicans have some successes in this election season in spite of the extreme Colorado State Party. Dave Williams' God hates the pride flag email and follow-up tweet fueled anti-Republican sentiment. Unaffiliated voters that might have considered our candidates were completely turned off. This is another one, 8422. Well, we blame the state Republican leadership when we lose. When we gain some ground, they should get some credit. There you go. So we lost, we would have been calling for all things to be changed, and because they won,
I gotta, on that,
maybe
on
we
that
should
thing,
give them some credit.
On the idea that the state party didn't deserve any credit and it was all Trump. Would they say the same thing if those people had lost? Right. Would it be state party deserves no blame? This is all Trump. If Trump was a better candidate, if Trump was a better this, if Trump had done better that, would they absolve if they're going to take away the alleged success of the Colorado GOP? Would they also intellectually have taken away any failures if it turned out differently? Yep. I'm just curious to see if we're equal on both sides. My guess is no. My guess is that if it had been a loss by the Colorado GOP, it would be all the Colorado GOP's fault and not Trump's. Trump didn't have anything to do because he was going to win Colorado anyways. Just a thought.
And the other thing I want to put out there is, in spite of a lot of criticism from the old party guard in this state, Dave Williams bet and went all in on Trump. And Trump won bigly. Single largest Republican national victory of all time. Over 76 million votes. No other Republican ever has gotten that. And Dave went all in on that. And if you remember, the speaker at the Colorado Republican Convention down in Pueblo was Matt Gaetz. He was a big speaker. So, yeah, I think there's a very fair criticism about ground game operation, voter registration operation, turn out the vote, legal ballot harvesting, phone calls and phone bankings, and were there any systems in place to help the candidates out there? One of the text messages I got here is, what did the state party do specifically? How much money did they spend on the races compared to what they may have paid their own staff? So that's one side of the coin. I think the other side of the coin is that when you look at Dave Williams betting on the MAGA agenda, that was exactly right. Donald Trump won big, and he's appointed Matt Gaetz to be his attorney general. So he is definitely tapped into that vein. But I want to hear from you. Phone calls, text messages, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line at 720-819-5115. Look, for many of us, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity's lost altogether. Well, I've got good news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment. Uno day. That can starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. Look, you got all this family stuff coming up. You're going to be traveling. You may be taking a vacation to a warm location this upcoming winter. You got to have that great head of hair on top of you. You'll look great. You'll feel better. You have more energy. Advanced Hair gets your own natural hair growing the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have. But what if what you want is your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Pauls, it's not maybe will your hair regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Give them a call today. Here's their phone number, 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR, or advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com. We'll continue with your calls and texts, and you'll never guess what the New York Times did. Racing to save Jared Polis. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
A Keurig K Supreme Plus Smart Serve coffee maker valued at $200. Get it now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
But isn't...
You know, Billy, that alert sound reminds me of an alert that went off at the New York Times after Jared Polis tweeted his support of Robert F. Kennedy.
Warning, danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson. Only some of our audience will get that reference to Robbie the Robot, but yes.
Dude, so progressive Twitter, which I follow on progressive Colorado Twitter, lost their minds.
Really?
When Jared Polis tweeted out his support of Robert F. Kennedy. Lost them. One was like, I'm going to burn my Jared Polis shirt. That's how angry they got. And then Jared had to walk back.
I enjoyed that part.
This effort right in front of Channel 9, which to their credit, they
I enjoyed the hell out of that. And in part, I just, the one thing is that how could Polis not know that this statement was going to go sideways? And I'm not talking about him supporting anybody inside of the Trump cabinet. It's the idea of this guy, because of the lunatic stuff that came out of his face hole. That's the idea. I could see that Polis could say, you know what? I disagree with Marco Rubio. However, his blah, 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 and especially if you lean on Rubio's support of Ukraine and Zelensky, that's a message. That's a message that can resonate across the aisle. Instead, he said, hey, you know, the guy that questions vaccines, the guy that likes to eat roadkill, the guy that wants to get dead bear, left it in state park, the guy that was keeping notes on the number of times and how he was cheating on his spouse, the guy that recently said something completely crappy and illogical and untrue about Ozempic, that guy, we're glad to have him. Like, what the hell? Of all the people to choose.
I think this could be his Christy Nome moment.
Hey, I like what you're thinking.
I think this could be Polis's Christy moment. And it's not because I totally disagree, which I did with Christy Nome, because I was like, I raise guardian livestock dogs and have goats, and what you did was totally wrong.
Absolutely.
But in this case, I like Robert F. Kennedy as the pick because I really want him to take on the big food and make America healthy again. I don't agree with everything he's doing, but I like that angle. So I want to put him in that role and I want to watch him run. But for the left, for progressives, when Jared Polis has got to go win a primary and he comes out in support of him, the primary voters in a Democrat party who hate Robert F. Kennedy, they see him as a turncoat. They don't like the vax stuff, all that stuff. But here's what they had to write. This was an opinion piece in the New York Times over the weekend by Ezra Klein. Not a little one. Big one.
Oh, Ezra's in on this one. I didn't see this. Okay.
In a desperate effort to save Jared Polis's career.
That's interesting.
Writes, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see Kennedy run HHS either. Another pandemic could happen and we need more vaccines. We're on the verge of what could be a golden age of biotech advances. I'm all for healthier food, but the person running the federal government's health bureaucracies should be excited by the possibility of modern medicine. I was hoping in a second Trump administration to see the warp speed program replicated. The HHS secretary's powers are limited, but there's plenty of havoc pseudoscience and conspiratorial thinking could raise. But he continues. Still, I don't think it's an accident that Polis's more individualistic take on liberalism has held so strong in Colorado. Democrats are ready to face the support they lost to inflation, but they've never fully reckoned with the anger and mistrust that still pulses from the pandemic. Maybe they don't want to. Perhaps they now prefer a coalition without Kennedy and others like him in it, but Polis doesn't.
I can fix that paragraph. Science is hard. That's it. That's all the fix is. Science is hard, and we did an awful job explaining it. I think you're right about Polis and this being the Christy Nome moment. And anybody that's going to run against him in a primary in the future needs to put a pin on this and bring this up, because you can ask him, how's RFK Jr. doing on this? How's he doing on this? Do you agree with him on this? Yeah.
And the New York Times desperate effort to go, look, he's just trying to keep the Kennedy libs in the... No. All right. Well, we've had a lot to cover. If you missed it, go to 710knus.com to download the podcast. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.